Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Royal Beast. Little Fox Evolves Nine-Tailed Sky Fox. Chapter 21. City Fringes. Inside a closed bar. Luau waited anxiously here. Click. The door was pushed open. A figure has slowly walked in. You're finally here, there should be nothing wrong with the mission, right? Luau looked at Kong Feiyun approaching, then frowned slightly, and said. Why do you come back empty-handed? Explain in advance. If there is nothing to prove that you have completed the task, I will not pay the next money. Kong Feiyun said. You don't have to worry about this, I'll show you the proof right away. Whoops, whoops. A cold light suddenly appeared. Blood spattered out. Luau subconsciously covered his neck, and a lot of blood gushed out from the wound on his neck. He stared at the other party, his eyes full of puzzlement. Some can't understand. I am the other party's employer. Why did the other party want to kill him? But he has no chance to know the answer, because his consciousness has been plunged into permanent darkness. This kind of appearance-changing spirit technique is really deceptive. If I hadn't been on the alert before, I'm afraid I would have succeeded. Looking at Luau's body, Su Yun went directly to the corpse hunting session, and finally found 1 million unregistered limit cards. It seems that with the previous 1 million, this is the reward for killing me, but it's cheaper for me. Su Yun put away the limit card and quickly left here. An hour later, the bar was already full of people. Some people kept busy beside Luau's body. After a while, a man with the appearance of a housekeeper came to the side of a middle-aged man. This middle-aged man is Luau's father, Lu Yunhong, the head of the Lu family. The butler said respectfully, Patriarch, the scene has been surveyed, and there is no trace of battle. Young master was killed with a single knife. It is obvious that he has no defense against the assailant. He should be an acquaintance. Lu Yunhong took a deep breath, stabilized his emotions, and said. No one of you really knows why the young master appears here. I've asked everyone, and no one knows. The housekeeper looked at Lu Yunhong's increasingly fierce eyes with some fear, and replied in a low voice. Lu Yunhong said coldly, check it out for me, my Lu Yunhong's son can't die in vain, no matter who finds him, I will cut him into pieces, otherwise it will be hard to get rid of my hatred. Yes, Patriarch. The butler wiped the cold sweat off his brow, then retreated immediately and began to use all the resources of the family to investigate the murderer. At home, Su Yun was sitting on the sofa, recalling everything just now. Luau, this guy really must report his flaws. He actually wanted to find a killer to kill me so quickly. And the family behind him is likely to be a problem. Su Yun's face was a little gloomy. But this time I handled it very cleanly, and I didn't even use Xiaobai when killing Luau. This should confuse them for a while. However, for the sake of insurance, the 5 million will be used in a few days. Su Yun muttered to himself in a low voice. Immediately, Su Yun prepared dinner for Xiaobai, and then entered the daily practice state. Spiritual energy flowed all over his body, and he felt very uncomfortable. Su Yun's expression moved slightly, and he suddenly opened his eyes. With a thought, the King Kong Ape King's royal beast egg appeared in his hand. All I could see was that the royal beast egg was shaking slightly. Is it about to hatch? Su Yun watched all this with anticipation on his face. Woo! Xiaobai also wagged his tail, looking a little curious. Click! The imperial beast egg shattered, and a fluffy fist covered in mucus protruded from it. Roar! With a childish growl, the Vajra monkey ape king has completely broken the eggshell and appeared in this world for the first time. Name King Kong Ape King. Cultivation Information View. Level Awakening Level 1. Talent Top Defense Talent, Top Strength Talent, Advanced Speed Talent. Attribute Steel. Bloodline. Middle King. Skills Crush Fist, Explosion of Strange Power, Hardening, Death Rush. Natural Evolution Steel Spar X10, Amethyst X10, Black Spirit Rock X5, King Beast Core X5. Variation Evolution Steel Spar X30, Amethyst X30, King Beast Core X20, Steel Heart X1. Hachi. The Iron Ape King gulped down his own eggshell fragments, and the aura of his whole body began to change, reaching the level of double awakening. Advanced at birth, is this the growth rate of a king-level blood cub? Seeing this scene, Su Yun showed a look of surprise on his face. Phew, The figure of the Vajra Ape King jumped up and landed on Su Yun's shoulder, looking very excited. Woo! Xiao Bai at the side gave up and let out a low growl. This new one is so unruly. How dare you snatch his exclusive seat? The Vajra Ape King was taken aback, and fell directly from Su Yun's shoulders. Fortunately, he reacted quickly enough, and he rolled and landed firmly on the ground. Phew! Not to be outdone, the Vajra Ape King roared back at Xiao Bai. Su Yun twitched the corner of his mouth. This is my second imperial beast. The courage seems to be very fat. Then, not beyond Su Yun's expectations. The Vajra Ape King was just born, and he was educated by Xiao Bai, knowing what is cruelty in life. He shrank in the corner with a full face of grievance. Okay, Xiao Bai, don't bully the Vajra Ape King. Su Yun had no choice but to pick up the King Kong Ape King, put a basin of warm water in it, and then wash off the mucus on King Kong Monkey King's body. The little guy was very cooperative. From time to time, he glanced at Xiao Bai who was staring at him. Wait until Su Yun blows the Vajra Ape King dry. Glancing at the resource points he had saved on purpose, he pondered for a moment, and directly upgraded the top-level strength talent to LV2, and all the remaining resource points were upgraded to LV5 from the burst of strange power. Phew! The Vajra Ape King screamed excitedly, only feeling that the strength of his whole body was constantly increasing, and various training memories came to his mind. Awakening triple, awakening quadruple, awakening fivefold. Finally, the newly born Vajra Ape King, under Su Yun's cheating, his strength has been raised to the 6th level of awakening. A sudden increase in strength. The King Kong Ape King felt that he was good again, and then quickly rushed towards Xiao Bai, and was instantly killed on the spot without any suspense. Moment. The Vajra Ape King calmed down again. It really is. Seeing such a scene, Su Yun also felt a little headache. I am afraid that these two little guys will not get along happily in the future. After King Kong Ape was born, Su Yun's home became lively. The King Kong Ape would provoke Xiao Bai from time to time, and was then ruthlessly suppressed. Su Yun also became busy. Life has once again become 2 points and 1 line. Not practicing psionics at home. It is to use the tools of the elite class to train the two beasts. However, most of Su Yun's energy is still on King Kong. Today's Xiao Bai can consciously complete the cultivation task even without Su Yun's guidance. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. Under crazy practice, Su Yun's spiritual power has reached the peak of the middle stage of the second order. Xiao Bai successfully broke through and reached the second level of leadership. The one who has improved the most is the newly born Vajra Ape King, who has directly reached the 9th level of awakening. It can be said that everything went very smoothly. The only thing that makes Su Yun quite depressed is that the entire elite class, basically no one wants to fight him. It seems that the last time they played against them was a bit too hard. Su Yun sighed slightly. In this case, the only option is to go to the wild again. Su Yun looked out of the city. Although the wild is extremely dangerous, but there are also opportunities everywhere. He will never forget that the reason why Xiao Bai can grow up so quickly is also because of the last field trip. After a few days, Su Yun came to the range of that map again. Although he has already explored part of it here. However, he has never set foot in some areas marked as extremely dangerous. And Su Yun at this time, his face has become a little dignified. Because not long ago, he had discovered that he was being targeted. And there was more than one person following him. Even these people all know the breath restraint technique, and they act cautiously enough, as if they are always looking for opportunities. But it's a pity. Under Su Yun's perception, their actions can be seen at a glance. The people following me are 5 people, including 2 third-tier beast masters and 3 second-tier beast masters. Who are these people? Could it be that my murder of Luao has been exposed? Su Yun's expression was a little gloomy, but he pretended not to notice and continued walking. Xiao Bai next to him also showed his acting skills, as if he knew nothing about the danger. Go, Xiao Bai! Suddenly Su Yun yelled, and directly used gigantic transformation to double the size of Xiao Bai's body, turned over and rode on it, turned into a stream of light and shot out into the distance, completely disappearing. Brush, brush, swish. Not long after Su Yun disappeared, 5 figures had already appeared here. A middle-aged man with a strong figure said with some uncertainty. What a chicken thief, kid, it seems that he has found us. Another thin-looking man said. This kid's speed is so fast that he's already out of my range of perception. Now he's in trouble. A fat man said, Boss, what should we do now? After speaking, everyone turned their attention to the man in the black robe. I was careless. I didn't expect his perception to be so keen. The man in black robe looked at the last person and said, Can you be sure that the sixth child was killed by him? Boss, even if you don't believe me on this point, you still have to trust my tracking dog. I spent a lot of effort to lock on to that kid at the last moment when the sixth man's breath dissipated. While several people were talking, he didn't even notice that Soo-yun was crouching quietly in a bush in the distance. At this time, he used the breath-restraining technique with all his strength to completely cover up all his breath. Xiaobai has also returned to his normal body shape, and his natural instincts make his aura blend with the surrounding environment as if. For those who want to deal with him, how could Soo-yun only care about running away? Now Soo-yun is a second-tier beast master, both in purpose and hearing are far beyond ordinary people. So even if they are far away, they can still vaguely hear their conversations. This also allowed Soo-yun to identify several people. It seems that it's not someone from the Liu family, but the companion who killed that guy before. Soo-yun looked at these people, a faint cold light flashed in his eyes. Since you want to kill him, then you have to be prepared to save your life. Although the other party has a large number of people. But Soo-yun doesn't think he's powerless. He stroked Xiaobai's head next to him, and said, It's been a long time since there was a real killing, let's have a good fight today. Xiaobai nodded slightly, the fighting spirit in his eyes was already real, he forcibly restrained himself from roaring excitedly. Seeing this, Soo-yun smiled slightly, and also secretly communicated with the Vajra Ape King in the Beast familiar space. You also have a share in this battle, be prepared. Roar. The Vajra Ape King in the Beast familiar space beat his chest frantically and let out loud roars. I don't know, what surprises will you bring me? Soo-yun looked at the 5 people in the distance, and a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Killing an arson gold belt. These guys are obviously killing people all year round. The things you carry are definitely valuable. Soo-yun transmitted voice to Xiaobai. Xiaobai, breath of fire. Woo. After receiving the master's order, Xiaobai's figure jumped up, and endless flames burst out of his mouth, like a whirlpool, sweeping towards the few people in the distance. What? Danger. Several people also walked on the edge of life and death all year round, feeling the satsuna of the scorching air wave, their bodies already moved instinctively. Spiritual power, light shield. The leading black-robed man reacted very quickly. He stretched out one hand, and his spiritual power had already turned into a shield, barely blocking the flames for a moment, before his figure rolled away into the distance. Come out, rock shell. The middle-aged man yelled, and grabbed the thin man who was close at hand, and a royal beast had already been summoned by him. Name, Rock Shell. Level, leading the first level. Talent, low defensive talent. Attribute, soil. Bloodline, low commander. Skills, rock armor, soil spike, rolling. Rock shells acted as shields. The whole body is constantly melting under the flames. But it bought time for the 2 to escape. He narrowly avoided the attack of the flames. Do not. The other 2 didn't have such strength and luck. They only had time to howl before they were turned into coke under the flames. Seeing the death of the 2 brothers, the black-robed man's eyes became a little gloomy. I really didn't expect that our brothers hunted geese all the year round, and they were actually pecked by Yan. The middle-aged man stared at Xiaobai, his eyes full of murderous intent. Because they have already recognized Xiaobai's identity, it is the royal beast they just followed the target. They didn't think about it. A mere student is so bold. After getting rid of them, they still lurked secretly, and finally shot them, and let them take the lead in reducing the number of people. They don't know how many years they haven't suffered such a big loss. HMPH, since you've already made a move, come out quickly, there's no point in hiding your head and showing your tail. The man in black robe looked in Xiaobai's direction, and said viciously. But there was no response at all. Because Soo-yun has already shifted his position. Under the situation of being outnumbered, the Beast Master is the first to reveal his position, and he will definitely become the target of the fire. Cunning brat. The middle-aged man snorted coldly. Fifth. You are standing next to him. This kid's strength is not simple, don't rashly intervene. The man in black robe said something to the thin man, and then said, Second, let's kill him together. Between voices. The black-robed man had already cast the summoning circle at the same time as the middle-aged man. The imperial beast of the man in black robe is a black boa constrictor more than 10 feet long. The beast of the middle-aged man is a giant wolf with a pitch-black body. Name: Demon Snake King. Level: Command the 7th level. Talent: High-level Speed Talent, Low-level Recovery Talent. Attribute: Dark, Poisonous. Bloodline: Low Lord. Skills: Snake Tail, Shadow Wave, Poison Fang, Venom. Name: Black Wolf King. Level: Command the 6th level. Talent: Advanced Recovery Talent, Low-level Defense Talent. Attribute: Common. Bloodline: Low Lord. Skills: Biting, Tearing, Roaring Shock Wave. The black-robed man shouted loudly, Kill it, Demon Snake King. Hiss. The Demon Snake King, who had been ordered by his master, walked around quickly, traversing the ground at a speed that didn't fit his figure at all. Next moment, all I saw was that it opened its bloody mouth wide, and purple-red venom had spewed out of his mouth, spreading towards Xiao Bai. Laugh. Drops of venom splashed onto the ground, turning blue and purple, and the surrounding trees and grass completely withered in an instant. Su Yun said via voice transmission, Xiao Bai, breath of ice. Xiao Bai opened his mouth quickly, and the endless cold wind had already bloomed for it. The cold current that froze everything directly caused the venom to stagnate in midair, and completely envelop the Demon Snake King. But only in the blink of an eye. Most of the Demon Snake King's body has been turned into an ice sculpture. However, the Demon Snake King showed extremely tenacious vitality, and was constantly struggling there, trying to get rid of the shackles of the ice layer. Ah! The Black Wolf King let out a roar, and his whole body jumped up, his sharp teeth gleaming coldly in midair. Spiritual art, gigantic. Su Yun pointed lightly, and a spiritual power turned into a mysterious rune, which had poured into Xiao Bai's body. Woo! Xiao Bai raised his head to the sky and screamed. Under the terrified eyes of the Black Wolf King, his body had already expanded 10 times, his whole body was like a hill. Xiao Bai, Ice Crack Claw, and then Breath of Ice. Xiao Bai's chilly paw slammed the Black Wolf King down, and pressed him firmly on the ground. The cold air in his mouth exploded, completely freezing him in place. Click! Xiao Bai stomped hard, and the frozen body of the Black Wolf King shattered instantly, turning into ice cubes all over the ground. Black Wolf King. The righteous eyes of the middle-aged man, your eyes are full of hatred. This is his main beast familiar. Most of the resources he obtained from killing people and exchanging goods were all invested in this beast familiar, and now he just died like this. Little devil, I must kill you today. The middle-aged man roared crazily, and summoned his second imperial beast. The summoning circle flickered. A figure that looked like a rock from top to bottom had appeared on the ground. Name: Rock Beast. Level: Commander 2nd level. Talent: Medium Defensive Talent. Attribute: Soil. Bloodline: Middle Commander. Skills: Rock Thorns, Hardening, Hell Rolling. Found you, die. The thin man had already locked Su Yun's position based on Su Yun's spiritual spell, and summoned his main beast guard without hesitation. As long as Su Yun can be dealt with, the battle can be quickly ended. Name: Red-tailed Tiger. Level: Extraordinary Quadruple. Talent: Low-level Recovery Talent. Attribute: Common. Bloodline: Low Commander. Skills: Tiger Roar, Culling, Biting. Roar. The red-tailed tiger has already rushed towards Su Yun's hiding place without hesitation. But it didn't take a few steps, but stopped vigilantly and roared in a low voice. Because not far in front of him, a huge figure 2 meters away has appeared, and it is the Vajra Ape King. The red-tailed tiger is nothing more than a 9-fold awakened imperial beast, get rid of it quickly. When the thin man saw the Vajra Ape King whose aura was only awakened to the 9th level, a look of disdain appeared on his face, and he hurriedly urged. Hearing the master's order, the red-tailed tiger hesitated for a moment, but still rushed in the direction of the Vajra Ape King. Roar! The King Kong Ape King's face was full of excitement. This was his first real killing, which made his blood boil all over his body. Vajra Ape King, the strange power explodes. Boom. The muscles of the Vajra Ape King's whole body swelled high, and the entire mountainous area also swelled with a punch, and its strength soared several times in an instant. The red-tailed tiger, who was still charging forward, immediately felt a huge threat, but before he could react, the powerful and heavy punch of King Kong had already descended with a bang, as if carrying a mighty force. Boom, crack, accompanied by a roar, the red-tailed tiger was knocked down by a punch, and its whole body sank directly into the ground. The bones all over its body were also shattered in an instant. A large amount of blood had been splashed out, and it could only make weak movements on the ground, struggle. Boom, boom, boom. The King Kong Ape King, who had done all this, didn't pay attention to his intentions at all, and rushed towards the thin man like a mountain avalanche. It falls with every step. The surrounding area seemed to be shaking. Puff! The terrifying force slammed into the skinny man's body, causing his body to shatter in an instant, and he was so dead that he couldn't die anymore. The last light in the red-tailed tiger's eyes was also dimmed, and he took his last breath. The master died. Even if the imperial beast does not die, it will be severely injured. The red-tailed tiger was seriously injured. Of course, the dead cannot die again. Roar! The Vajra Ape King raised his head to the sky and roared furiously, with blood dripping from his fur, as if he was a fierce god bathed in blood, showing his arrival to the world. Old 5. Seeing another brother die, a look of sadness flashed in the eyes of the man in black robe. Although the two parties are only interested in each other, they still have feelings after getting along for so long. Don't worry, I will avenge you. The black-robed man spoke coldly and shouted. You come out too, Steel Beetle. The summoning circle emerged, and a beetle exuding metallic luster had emerged. Name: Steel Beetle. Level: leading the first level. Talent: medium defensive talent. Attribute: Steel. Bloodline: Middle Commander. Skills: Iron Fist, Metal Defense, Mount High. As soon as the Steel Beetle appeared, it flapped its wings, summoned the three little white beasts that were fighting fiercely, and rushed towards Su Yun, trying to kill him in one fell swoop. The man in black robe is very clear. For Su Yun, a second-tier Beastmaster, 2 Beastmasters are already the limit, so now is the best opportunity. Steel Beetle, use Iron Fist. The Steel Beetle flapped its wings and made a loud humming sound. Its figure had already jumped out quickly, punching Su Yun hard. Spirit Shield Technique. Su Yun's expression remained unchanged. One hand was stretched forward, and a large amount of spiritual power diffused, turning into a protective shield, completely enveloping him. Bang! Crack! The Steel Beetle punched the Spirit Shield Technique, and the terrifying power caused cracks to appear in it. Die, brat! The faces of the two men in black robes all showed a hint of ferocity. Roar! But at this moment, an earth-shattering roar resounded through the audience. The Vajra Ape King had already rescued in time, and the Steel Beetle was slammed into the air by terrifying force, and even the metal-like carapace on the Steel Beetle's body was distorted, visible to the naked eye. What kind of strange power is this? A look of shock appeared on the faces of the two men in black robes. But it's just the 9th level of awakening. Not only can it fly the commander-level Steel Beetle, but it can even hurt it. What are you kidding about? This time it's... The middle-aged man's expression also changed wildly. It didn't take long from the beginning of the battle to the present, but they had already suffered heavy losses. It was really hard to believe that their opponent was just a student under 20 years old. Su Yun looked at the two of them coldly, pointing at the King Kong Ape King. Spiritual Art. Gigantic. Roar. The Vajra Ape King let out a roar of excitement, and his originally huge body suddenly expanded 10 times. He could only feel endless power flowing in his body, as if he was a giant, and slammed into the direction of the Steel Beetle fiercely. A trace of fear appeared on the Steel Beetle's face, and it wanted to dodge. But the attack range of the King Kong Ape King's fist was too large, and he couldn't completely dodge it in a hurry. The whole person was lifted into the air by the punch, and he let out a miserable cry. Suppress him, Vajra Ape King. Su Yun gave the order coldly. He is very clear. Even if King Kong's strength has reached a terrifying level with the double boost of spiritual spells and strange power bursts, it still can't change the fact that he only has the 9th level of awakening. It is simply not realistic to want to kill the Steel Beetle with this method. Boss, it seems that the two of us can only make sacrifices. Seeing that the steel beetle was completely suppressed, the middle-aged man took a deep breath and said to the man in black robe. The man in black robe nodded with an ugly face. Although the two of them can still take out a third beast. But with their financial resources, it is not easy to make the combat power of the two imperial beasts take shape. Summoning the third one has no meaning other than giving away the head. Spiritual spell, Berserk. The two immediately shouted loudly, and a strange aura had descended on the demon snake king and the rock beast. All of a sudden, pain appeared on the faces of the two imperial beasts, but it was replaced by ferocity immediately after. Their aura is definitely several times stronger than before. Roar, roar. Accompanied by two completely different roars, the demon snake king and the rock beast have launched a crazy attack on Xiaobai. Su Yun instantly unlocked Xiaobai's gigantic technique. Unless you can really break the trick with your strength. Otherwise, the huge body sometimes becomes a living target. And at this moment, the two royal beasts of the King of Warcraft are already close to Xiaobai, and various skills are emerging one after another. Although there is no trick, but the power is all terrible. Xiaobai, armor of ice. Su Yun ordered. In the blink of an eye. Xiaobai's whole body has been covered by ice, and the pieces of ice fit perfectly on his body like armor. Boom, boom, boom. The three beasts directly fought together. Any command has lost its meaning at this moment. Because the battle is completely changing in the blink of an eye. Woo. Facing the frenzied attack of the two imperial beasts, Xiaobai could only counterattack with the defense of the ice armor and his own speed. But the two beasts seemed to be fearless of death, and even their vitality became more tenacious. Even Xiaobai couldn't kill them with one blow. Hey, that's great. Seeing this scene, the man in black robe had a ferocious sneer on his face. As long as Xiaobai can be successfully dealt with, leaving only the King Kong Ape King who has awakened to the 9th level, no matter how strong he is, so what? Boom, boom, boom. The battle between the little white three beasts intensified, as if a prehistoric beast was biting. The aftermath of the battle continued to rage in all directions, and the battlefield of the three beasts became a mess. Phew. King Kong Ape abandoned the steel beetle and wanted to rescue Xiaobai. Even if he always wanted to seize Xiaobai's position as the boss. I won't be messed up at this time. Don't think about it. The black-robed man sneered, and immediately ordered. Steel beetle, use Tarzan to press the top. The steel beetle, which was already bruised, jumped up without hesitation upon hearing the master's order, and slammed towards King Kong Yuan ruthlessly, exuding a mighty force from its entire body. Su Yun quickly said, "Don't force it, avoid it." Facing the steel beetle that was close at hand, the Vajra Ape King showed extraordinary agility, and he dodged while twisting his body. Boom! The earth was torn apart by the oppression of the steel beetle. Steel beetle, no matter what method you use, entangle that fox for me. The black-robed man quickly gave orders. A look of ferocity flashed across the steel beetle's eyes, and it just stood in the way of King Kong Ape King's support, preventing it from taking a step further. Boom, boom, boom. Incomparably violent roaring sound continued to resound. The huge battlefield has been divided into two parts. The King Kong ape was entangled to death by the steel beetle. Xiaobai's battle was also extremely tragic. The demon snake king and the rock beast are not afraid of death. Although they are seriously injured, their combat power is getting stronger and stronger. The man in black robe coldly shouted at Su Yun. Now you bow your head and admit defeat. Take the initiative to cancel the contract of these two beasts, and I may let you live. This statement is of course false. The spiritual spells that the two of them used on the imperial beast were definitely the tricks to kill both of them. Unless the last drop of blood is shed, the two beasts will never let go of their enemies. However, he was really moved by Su Yun, these two obviously high-blooded royal beasts. If you can get these two beasts, you can completely make up for the loss of the main beasts. Certainly, he didn't mean to hit Su Yun's will to fight. He is now looking forward to seeing the look of fear and despair in Su Yun's eyes. But he was visibly disappointed. Su Yun's eyes were very calm from the beginning to the end. It seemed that the predicament in front of him was not worth mentioning at all. This brat. Why is he still so calm? Is there any whole card? Looking at Su Yun's calm eyes, the two men in black robes felt a little uneasy. Xiaobai, the source is liberated, Su Yun said lightly. Wu, hearing Su Yun's order, Xiaobai excitedly chirped. Silently, an incomparably vast aura has spread from Xiaobai's body, sweeping away in all directions. Boom, Xiaobai stands on the ground, and its left and right sides seem to have turned into two worlds. One side is blazing with flames. One side is frozen for thousands of miles. The two completely different attributes are perfectly reflected in Xiaobai's body. At this time, Xiaobai seemed to be the god in charge of ice and fire, and people couldn't help but be in awe of him. This is. The two men in black robes showed expressions of horror. They only felt that Xiaobai's aura had reached an extremely terrifying level. This royal beast has still retained such a huge power after fighting. The two men in black robes looked at each other, and both saw the looming fear in each other's eyes. The feeling that Xiaobai gave them at this time was too dangerous. I'm afraid even if it is a lord-level beast, it is nothing more than that. Even though the demon snake king and the rock beast had lost their minds, they instinctively felt threatened now. They have exerted their life-burning power to the extreme. Rockthorn, solvent. Between Setsuna, huge soil thorns have already stretched out from the ground. A large amount of solution was also spit out from the mouth of the Black Snake King, rippling towards Xiaobai, directly corroding everything it touched. The full attack of both, as if to completely destroy the entire battlefield. Still facing the power of the two, Xiaobai, who stood standing amidst the ice and fire, had a flash of contempt in his eyes. Xiaobai, breath of fire. As soon as Su Yun's words fell, endless flames burst out from Xiaobai's mouth. Whether it was the huge soil thorn or the solution that corroded everything, they were all burned up in an instant. Under this flame, the earth began to burn blazingly, and even began to gradually melt, showing the posture of magma. Watch it all. Both men in black robes took a step back subconsciously. Is this kind of trick a commander-level beast can perform? To be touched a little by such a flame. No matter who it is, I am afraid that it will be wiped out in an instant. Xiaobai, breath of ice. Su Yun ordered. Xiaobai took a step forward and opened his mouth again. Endless cold currents have burst out from Xiaobai's mouth, rushing towards the two imperial beasts. Where the cold current passed, the ground froze instantly, and even the flames on the ground turned into ice sculptures. The breath of ice whose skill power has reached its limit. The power is far from being comparable to the breath of fire. Roar, roar. The two royal beasts, the demon snake king and the rock beast, roared wildly. They had completely lost their minds and didn't know what fear was, let alone dodge, so they released their skills again. But in an instant, the skills of the two of them have been completely swallowed by the cold current, freezing in midair. Next moment, the bodies of both the demon snake king and the rock beast have been completely frozen, and the terrifying low temperature has taken their lives in an instant. Xiaobai walked in front of the ice, and his extremely cold eyes fell on the two men in black robes, as if a high-ranking empress was watching the two death row prisoners who were about to be judged. The two black-robed men staggered back a few steps, trembling all over their bodies. In Xiaobai's eyes, they see death, without any hesitation. They turned and ran almost at the same time. There is only endless regret in their hearts. Why come to hunt down this terrible enemy? Xiaobai, breath of ice. Su Yun's voice sounded like death's bell. Endless cold currents bloomed in the arena again, completely enveloping the two men in black robes in an instant, destroying all vitality of the two of them in an instant. With the death of the master. In the distance, the steel beetle, which was fighting with the Vajra Ape King, had lost its aura rapidly. Boom! The Vajra Ape King punched it down, directly smashing it into the ground, completely ending his life. Phew! The Vajra Ape King looked at his fist with a puzzled look on his face. This incomparable guy died just like that. Woo! Xiaobai let out a cry, and immediately exited the state of original liberation, with an extremely tired expression on his face. This time the battle can be said to be a rare hard fight. In addition, the liberation of the source is also extremely exhausting. Even Xiaobai felt exhausted. Good job, Xiaobai, you have worked hard. Su Yun immediately ran forward, and took out a piece of holy spirit grass and nutrient solution from his backpack, allowing Xiaobai to recover his strength quickly. Phew! The huge body of the Vajra Ape King also walked back, crouching down, looking at Su Yun expectantly. Got it, you worked hard today too. Su Yun lifted the King Kong Ape King's gigantic form, and touched his head with a smile on his face. Phew, King Kong Ape King enjoyed it, and glanced at Xiaobai provocatively. Woo, Xiaobai rolled his eyes. Now it is too lazy to have the same knowledge as this childish ghost. Among the jungle, while Xiaobai and King Kong Ape regained their strength, Su Yun also started to search for spoils. On the bodies of the middle-aged men, he found nearly 10 million unregistered limit cards, as well as a large number of beast cores and various resources in their backpacks. But when he searched the black-robed man's body, Su Yun showed a look of doubt on his face. Strange, this person should be the boss among several people, why should he be so poor? Su Yun muttered to himself. Even if the rest of the supplies can be brought by other people, the food for the Beastmaster should also be carried with him. This is the most basic prudence. Well, this is. Su Yun touched the black-robed man's cuff, turned it over, and suddenly his eyes lit up. This is a boxy bag that seems to be woven from animal skins. Name: Space Bag. Function: store inanimate objects. The internal space is 3 cubic meters. This guy actually has a space bag on his body. Su Yun was startled, his face was already full of joy. In this world, in fact, it has a spiritual weapon for the Beastmaster to use, but it is very rare. Which is relatively common. It is the special spiritual weapon of the space bag. But even so, space bags are also invaluable. Su Yun picked up the space bag, penetrated his spiritual power into it, and easily gained control of him. A void and pitch-black space also appeared in his perception. There are a lot of beast cores, spiritual grass and fruit, and even a lot of cash stored here. Rough estimate, the value of all things combined should be more than 30 million. This time is really a huge harvest. Su Yun took a deep breath and calmed down his agitated emotions. Immediately, Su Yun took out a book of spiritual art from the interspatial bag. Name: Spiritual Berserk. Function: at the cost of life and sanity, improve the strength of the beast. The more injured the beast is, the stronger the strength will be, until death. No wonder the two Beastmasters who are far weaker than Xiaobai have become so difficult to deal with. This spirit technique is really evil. And even the system didn't give a prompt to upgrade. It seems that this is the limit of this spiritual technique. Su Yun shook his head and threw it back into the space bag. He doesn't have any intention of studying. Since this period of getting along, he already regarded Xiaobai and King Kong King as his family members. No matter what the situation, he would not sacrifice the life of either beast. After looking at the large amount of materials, Su Yun sorted out the materials he needed and suitable for the evolution of the two beasts, and then converted all of them into resource points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining 30 resource points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining resource point 26. Ding! The host has been allowed to obtain 15 resource points. I don't know how long it has passed. A large number of resources have been completely converted. Resource points: 3,250. Looking at the resource point, a smile appeared on the corner of Su Yun's mouth. This is the first time he has such an amazing resource point. You two come here, you can add some more. Su Yun waved at the little white beasts. Phew, woo. Immediately, the eyes of the two beasts brightened, and surprise expressions appeared on their faces. Now they have understood the meaning of adding dots. It was simply a blunt opening. Every time, their strength will increase by leaps and bounds. Su Yun touched the heads of the two, looked at the attributes of the two, thought for a while, and thought to himself. For Xiaobai, the skill of Origin Liberation must be upgraded to LV10. This is definitely the real killer feature. Without the slightest hesitation, with a flick of Su Yun's mind, a large number of resource points have been added to the original liberation, raising it to LV10. It can still continue to improve. Could it be that the potential of this skill is more than that? Su Yun looked at the system panel with a look of surprise on his face. The current source of liberation is already extremely terrifying. According to his estimate, the original liberation of LV10 is enough to increase Xiaobai's strength in all aspects by 10 times, and this is not the limit. Hesitated for a moment, Su Yun no longer continued to improve. Otherwise, it is impulsive. Other skills may not be able to upgrade to the expected effect. Subsequently, Su Yun began to upgrade Xiaobai's skills a lot. Noob. Top Speed Talent LV5. Top Fire Control Talent LV3. Top Ice Control Talent LV3. Needless to say, the speed talent is one of Xiaobai's reliance. The improvement of fire control and ice control talents can greatly improve Xiaobai's control and power of the two attribute skills. After doing all this, Su Yun turned his attention to the Vajra Ape King, and planted all the remaining resource points on him. Strange Power Burst LV10. Hardened LV6. Smash Punch LV10. Top Strength Talent LV5. Strange, Smashing Punch is not the full level after reaching LV10. This skill also has a high potential. After digesting all the resource points, Su Yun raised his eyebrows slightly as he looked at the King Kong Ape King's system panel. At the same time, the auras of Xiaobai and the Vajra Ape King also began to improve continuously. A large number of bonus points allowed their strength to improve rapidly. The body of the Vajra Ape King began to skyrocket, reaching a distance of 1 foot, and his strength stabilized at the extraordinary level. Although Xiaobai's body didn't change much, the chill and scorching heat on his body became more obvious, and his strength finally reached the 6th level of command. Phew, woo. The huge improvement in strength made the two beasts extremely excited. King Vajra Ape, use the crushing punch on that big tree. Su Yun looked at the Vajra Ape King and gave the order. Although the Vajra Ape King was a little puzzled, he still came to the big tree and punched it out. Click. The big tree was smashed to pieces in an instant. But this seems to be just the beginning. The fist of the Vajra Ape King hit the air, as if there was an invisible force rippling. Click. The air was torn apart like a mirror, and an incomparably terrifying force surged out, heading straight ahead. Rumble. Wherever this force passed, everything was completely shattered, presenting countless uneven fragments. A look of surprise appeared on Su Yun's face. As expected, it is a limit skill that even LV10 has not reached, yet another attack method has been derived. Thus, Vajra Ape King will no longer lack ranged means. Phew. The Vajra Ape King looked at his fist with a confused expression on his face. He just punched casually, has such great power unexpectedly. Subconsciously, the Vajra Ape King looked at Xiaobai with malicious eyes. Woo. Xiaobai immediately exploded, wanting to teach Vajra Ape King another lesson. Okay, no one of you two can fight each other without my permission in the future. Su Yun immediately said angrily. This is in the wild. Fight, God knows what will happen. Goldwind City. After killing the gang, Su Yun survived in the wild for a few days before returning home. After simply washing up and preparing the food for Xiaobai and King Kong Ape King. As soon as I charged my phone, I saw a series of missed calls. Su Yun called back the phone curiously, and immediately the familiar loud voice rang in his ears. Good boy, you can answer the phone. What have you been doing these 2 days? Being in the wild all the time, it is inevitable that the signal is not good. Is there anything wrong with Mr. Zhou? So that's how it is. Forget it. Remember to gather at school tomorrow. After speaking, Zhou Daifeng has already hung up the phone in a hurry. Su Yun was also a little curious about this. After all, the elite class is very free. It's definitely important to get all the students together. Early the next morning, Su Yun came to the assembly hall of the teaching building early, which was already full of people. Lu Yutong and Gao Feng were impressively on the list. Su Yun, you are here. Lu Yutong waved to Su Yun. Su Yun nodded with a smile, and stood beside Su Yutong. Gao Feng looked at Su Yun in surprise, and said, why does it feel like I haven't seen you for a few days, and you have become stronger again? It's just a little improvement. Come on, I believe you are a ghost. Gao Feng rolled his eyes. Now he has realized that his best friend is a monster at all, which cannot be treated with common sense. After a while, Zhou Daifeng has finally arrived at the assembly hall. He glanced at the assembled crowd, and deliberately glanced at Su Yun before saying in satisfaction. I believe everyone is a little confused. Why did you ask you to gather today? It's all because the principal won us an exchange match before the college entrance examination. The opponent is our number 1 high school in Jinfang City. Hearing Zhou Daifeng's words, some commotions broke out in the arena. Because the number 1 high school in Jinfang City can be said to be the cradle of geniuses in the entire city. Among all high schools, the overall strength is absolutely ranked first. It's not comparable to their 9th high school at all. Quiet, Zhou Deifeng shouted seriously. No, one high school is indeed very strong, but this is also a rare opportunity for you to test your own strength before the college entrance examination. Of course, friendship is second in this game, and competition is first. You must do your best. Quote. Everyone twitched the corners of their mouths slightly. What Zhou Deifeng said was really full of gunpowder. But also right, since it is communication. It doesn't make any sense if you don't really decide whether to win or lose. Zhou Deifeng glanced at everyone and said, if you have any questions, you can ask them now. Su Yun immediately said, is there any reward for killing them directly? Zhou Deifeng glanced at Su Yun appreciatively, and said, of course there are rewards. Whoever performs the most outstandingly, I will personally reward him with a book of attacking spirits. As soon as this sentence is exported, everyone's eyes lit up. General spiritual arts all focus on assistance and defense. Attacking spirit spells are absolutely rare. Even Su Yun was very moved. Okay, since you don't have any other questions, I'll go with me. This kind of person followed Zhou Deifeng to leave the school, and the school bus had already been waiting for a long time. Is this the number 1 middle school? It's not comparable to the number 9 middle school. Su Yun looked out the window, and a majestic school had appeared before his eyes. Every building inside has the vicissitudes of history. The floor area is also twice that of the number 9 middle school. And in front of the school gate, several teachers are already waiting here. Okay, we're at the place. Everyone, come out with some energy, don't embarrass us at number 9 middle school. Zhou Deifeng opened the car door, said something to everyone, and got out of the car first. Haha, long time no see, Lao Zhou. A teacher saw Zhou Deifeng and immediately came up to him with a smile on his face, and gave him a hug. Haha, I miss you too, Lao Sha. Both of them behaved very enthusiastically, as if they were really old friends who hadn't seen each other for many years. But judging from the strength with which they slapped each other's backs again, things are definitely not the same thing. These children are members of your school's elite class, right? They can cultivate to such a level at such an age. Sha Cheng rubbed his back in pain, looked at Su Yun and the others, and revealed a smile. I've heard of Mr. Sha. He seemed to be Mr. Zhou's classmate when he was young. The two of them have always been competitors. Su Yutong whispered in Su Yun's ear. Of course our students are excellent. Zhou Deifeng rolled his eyes and said. It's already noon now, you won't be stingy and don't even have lunch ready. What are you talking about? I've already prepared it, Sha Cheng said. These teachers will lead you to the cafeteria. As for the exchange game, it will be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Before that, you can move freely. In the cafeteria, Gao Feng ate the food in the cafeteria, and said vaguely. It's delicious and the ingredients are sufficient. Our school can't compare to it. Su Yun smiled and said, I advise you not to have expectations for any school cafeteria. I guess this time is because I knew we were coming, so I made special preparations. By the way, the Beast Familiar cafeteria next to it has also prepared the latest type of Beast Familiar nutrient solution. Do you want your Beast Familiar to replenish its strength? The teacher on the side spoke. Everyone heard the words. Although there was some emotion, he finally shook his head. There will be an exchange match soon. It's better not to expose the strength of the beast in advance. If that's the case, then I'm not welcome, Su Yun said somewhat playfully. Hearing that only Su Yun agreed, the teacher looked a little regretful. He did have the intention of inquiring for information. After Su Yun released the Vajra Ape King, the teacher looked even more disappointed. As the strength only at the extraordinary level. It seems that this student has not hidden his cultivation. He probably just came here to experience it. The teacher shook his head secretly. But it didn't take long. There was regret on the teacher's face. Because the King Kong Ape King's food intake is really too big. Wait until the time to leave. The teacher looked at the empty Royal Beast cafeteria with a look of wanting to cry but no tears. That is a nutrient solution worth at least hundreds of thousands. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Students from the two schools gathered at the battlefield under the leadership of their teachers. And around the battlefield, there was already a sea of people, all of whom were teachers and students from No. 1 high school. Are these the students of the elite class of 9th high school? They don't seem to be very good. A student looked disdainful. Even if it's not very good, it's still better than you. You are a weak chicken who has not reached the 3rd level beast master. The friend next to him hit him mercilessly. Say it as if you've already reached it. And they're not all tier 3 beast masters. The student pointed in Su Yun's direction and said, look, he is also a 2nd level cultivation base, and look at the imperial beast that is following him, it doesn't even reach the 9th level of transcendence. So, the level of the elite class of 9th high school is just like that, and it can't be compared with our elite class at all. It didn't take long. Sha Cheng and Zhou Daifeng also came late. Sha Cheng also announced the communication rules to everyone. To save time, the battle between the two sides adopts a one-on-one defensive battle. The winner can become the champion. Even if you are strong enough. Then you can keep fighting. After all the people on one side are defeated, it is a complete failure. The only restriction is that you cannot attack the Beast Master himself or maliciously kill the opponent's Beast Master. Zhou Daifeng said to the crowd. Who do you plan to go up first? All come. Gao Feng immediately raised his hand. He has a very clear understanding of his own strength. Even if it has progressed by leaps and bounds during this period of time. It is also at the bottom of the elite class. It's better to be the first to be cannon fodder, and even if you can win a game by chance, it's even better. Well, then you go. Zhou Daifeng saw Gao Feng's thoughts and nodded. Immediately, under the spotlight, Zhou Daifeng had already entered the battlefield and summoned out his main beast, the Flame Tiger. More than a month in the elite class. The Flaming Tiger has grown to an extraordinary limit. I'm afraid if it wasn't for Gao Feng's cultivation base, he would have already broken through to the commanding level. Progress is not insignificant, but his opponent, Lu Feiyun, showed a hint of sarcasm. This is your royal beast. It is impossible to be my opponent. As soon as his voice fell, the summoning circle had already appeared in front of him. Roar, accompanied by a roar, a huge monster 1 foot away slowly walked out of the summoning circle, and an incomparably ferocious aura spread directly. Name, Swallowing Stone Beast. Level, Command the 6th level. Talent, Advanced Defense Talent. Attribute, Soil. Bloodline, Low Lord. Skills, Earthquakes, Death Rolls, Gravel Explodes. Come on, Lu Feiyun, let them know how great our No. 1 high school is. All the students of No. 1 high school cheered immediately. Do you want to be so ruthless when you first come up? Gao Feng only felt a toothache, and the level of the stone-swallowing beast far surpassed Agni, so he didn't have much confidence in this battle. But since standing here, nor is he prepared to back down without a fight. As the game begins, Gao Feng had already made the first move, pointing out with one finger. Spiritual Art, White Mist. Gao Feng's voice sounded slowly, and a large amount of fog had risen in the battlefield, directly covering the battlefield completely. The peak is very clear. The hard-powered Flaming Tiger will definitely not be the opponent of the stone-swallowing beast, so it must not be head-to-head. Small tricks. Lu Feiyun sneered. Stone-swallowing beast, let this tiger see your strength. Roar. The roar of the stone-swallowing beast resounded in the mist, and its huge body was looming in the white mist. Boom, boom, boom. A muffled sound continued to resound, and the white mist continued to burst. It still doesn't work, the gap is too big. Su Yun sensed the fighting situation inside and shook his head lightly. This Lu Feiyun obviously also has the spiritual skills of perception and sound transmission. Gao Feng's spiritual skills didn't play much role at all. Next moment, the raging flame tiger had already let out a wail, flew upside down out of the mist, smashed hard on the ground, and passed out completely. Ha ha ha, Senior Lu is mighty. Senior Lu did a great job. Seeing that Lu Feiyun easily won, some lower grade students cheered loudly. A smile appeared on the faces of the students of the elite class of 9th high school. Lu Feiyun's strength is very strong. Even in their elite class, they can be ranked in the first echelon. The reason for sending him. It is also to give the opponent a blow. What's your name? This game is just the beginning. When my brother comes on the court, you will definitely beat your teeth all over the place. Gao Feng took the raging flame tiger back to the beast familiar space, and returned to the team indignantly. Don't worry about it. The level of this stone-swallowing beast is far higher than that of the flame tiger, and it's not shameful to lose in his hands. Zhou Deifeng patted Gao Feng's shoulder comfortingly, and then said to everyone. Who will you go next? I come. A burly elite student walked up to the ring and released his imperial beast. Name, Wood Vine. Level, Command the 5th level. Talent, Intermediate Recovery Talent. Attribute, Wood. Bloodline, Low Lord. Skills, Vine Strangulation, Parasitic Vines, Entanglement. Wooden Vines, Vines Strangling. The burly student immediately gave the order to attack. Swish, swish, swish. Accompanied by the sound of piercing through the air, a large number of vines extended from the wooden vines, turned into a big net, and enveloped the stone-swallowing beast. Ha ha ha, there is no way for you to escape. As long as you are entangled by my vines, the entanglement will become tighter and tighter, and you will not be able to break free at all. Seeing that the vines had completely covered the stone-swallowing beast, a smile appeared on the burly student's face. HMPH, what a naive idea. Lu Feiyun sneered, and gave an order to the stone-swallowing beast. Use the death roll and tear this broken web for me. The body of the stone-swallowing beast immediately curled up, as if it had turned into a huge stone ball, and with a rumbling sound, it hit hard on the vine net. The terrifying power caused the vine net to show visible distortions to the naked eye, and finally completely shattered. Stone-swallowing beast, the gravel explodes. The stone-swallowing beast let out a roar, and countless gravels had swept out of his body, continuously bombarding the body of the wooden vine, causing him to be severely injured directly, completely losing the power to fight again. All of a sudden, no, one high school cheered loudly. You lost like that. Everyone in the 9th high school showed horror on their faces. The strength of the burly man was already the strongest among them, yet he was defeated so easily. Seeing such a scene, Zhou Deifeng's face was also a little ugly. He is very clear. There is indeed a considerable gap between the students in the elite classes of the 2 high schools. But I didn't expect the other party to be so shameless. HMPH, since that's the case, then I don't have to save face for you. Zhou Deifeng snorted coldly and looked at Su Yun. Su Yun is his biggest hole card in this exchange battle. Su Yun nodded, and said to the Vajra Ape King. You have to behave well in a while. Roar. The Vajra Ape King roared up to the sky, hammering his chest with both fists continuously, making a deafening roar. Let it not be that white fox. Zhou Deifeng's eyes widened. Before he could finish his sentence, Su Yun had already brought the mighty King Kong Yama onto the battlefield. Zhou Deifeng was stunned. Su Yun didn't want to play him, did he? Extraordinary eightfold. Lu Feiyun looked at the Vajra Ape King next to Su Yun, with a strange look on his face. Haha, is there really no one in 9th high school? They even sent a 2nd-tier beast master. This imperial beast seems to be really strong, but its level is too low. The students in the elite class of number 1 high school all shook their heads, with some mocking expressions on their faces. 9th high school doesn't want to use up the stone-swallowing beast's stamina, does it? If this is so naive, a transcendent 9th layer might be killed in an instant, and there is no way to waste too much energy from the stone-swallowing beast. ... These guys are really noisy. But you'll shut up after a while. Su Yun looked at the students who were chattering around, with a playful smile on the corner of his mouth. Phew, the Vajra Ape King was also very upset. These ignorant guys dare to look down on it, is it a little bit of a high level? Do you really want to waste my time with him here? I would like to advise you, don't let your own beast suffer from fearless damage. Lu Feiyun said proudly. Let's attack here. Su Yun looked indifferent. Very well, I hope you don't regret it. Lu Feiyun smiled coldly, and immediately ordered. Stone-swallowing beast, death rolls. Obtaining the master's order, the figure of the swallowing stone beast turned into a huge rock ball once again, and slammed into the direction of the Vajra Ape King at an extremely fast speed. Vajra Ape King, the strange power explodes. The Vajra Ape King roared, and an incomparably violent aura erupted from his whole body. His body, which was originally a foot away, swelled up in an instant, and he punched the stone-swallowing beast fiercely. Boom! The moment the two meet, a huge roar erupted directly. Under the incredible gaze of everyone, the high-speed rolling stone-swallowing beast unexpectedly stopped rolling abruptly under this punch. Click! A crack appeared on the surface of the stone-swallowing beast's body, causing him to let out a mournful cry, and his entire body flew upside down, hitting the ground hard. All of a sudden, the cheers in the field stopped abruptly. Fell into an eerie silence. Everyone looked at the Vajra Ape King standing in the field and roaring to the sky, all eyes were full of disbelief. This is the beast of the 8th level of the extraordinary, what are you kidding? The teacher who took Su-yun to the cafeteria before had a horrified expression on his face, only feeling that his worldview had been impacted. Killing the stone-swallowing beast with one punch is a bit too exaggerated. The stone-swallowing beast seems to be seriously injured. What kind of monster is this familiar beast? Which of you has seen this royal beast? What bloodline is it? It's not in the textbook, but the bloodline is at least a high-ranking lord, otherwise it wouldn't be so strong. After a short silence, everyone was talking a lot, and the entire battlefield was once again full of noise. This kid is really a surprise. Zhou Daifeng grinned, completely relieved. Who else is coming? Su-yun glanced at the students of number 1 high school in the distance, and said calmly, "Let me, Zi Yunchang, come and teach you about your imperial beast." With a loud drink, a tall man who didn't look like a student at all, with a height of nearly 2 meters, had slowly stepped onto the ring. A summoning circle appeared in front of him, and a huge rhino standing upright had already stepped out with heavy steps. Name: One-Horned Rhinoceros. Level: Command the 7th level. Talent: Intermediate Defense Talent, Low-level Strength Talent. Attribute: Common. Bloodline: Low Lord. Skills: War Tramples, Mount Tai Overwhelms, Hell Unicorn Drill. One-Horned Rhino, Hell One-Horned Drill. With Zi Yunchang's loud shout, the one-horned rhinoceros had already launched a charge, and the one horn on its forehead began to spin at high speed, tearing the air with ease. Boom, boom, boom. Every time the one-horned rhino's footsteps moved, the entire battlefield was shaken, and even the students in the distance were a little unstable. Spirituality, sharp. A gleam of light flashed in Zi Yunchang's eyes, and a spirit technique had already shrouded the body of the one-horned rhinoceros, making his high-speed spinning horn sharper, as if it wanted to destroy everything in front of him, completely through. King Vajra Ape, use hardening, then death rush. The Vajra Ape King beat his chest with both fists, a faint metallic luster appeared all over his body, and he rushed towards the one-horned rhino fiercely like an avalanche. It's so impulsive, and you still want to fight head-to-head. Seeing this scene, Sha Chang shook his head slightly. The Hell Unicorn Drill combined with the sharpness of the spirit technique definitely has an extraordinary attack power, it can easily tear flesh and blood, and penetrate steel. He has even ordered other teachers on standby to be ready for treatment at any time. But the next moment, his pupils shrank slightly. Boom, accompanied by a huge roar. The one-horned rhinoceros and King Kong ape have collided together. An invisible air wave rolled towards the surroundings. The field was full of strong winds. All the students subconsciously stretched out their hands to block the oncoming air waves. But his eyes were still fixed on the field. I only saw the spinning horn of the one-horned rhino pressing against the shoulder of King Vajra Ape King, but it couldn't hurt the slightest bit. It seems that the body of King Vajra Ape is the indestructible refined steel. What kind of defense is this? Is it too exaggerated? Are you kidding me? The sound of exclamation continued to resound. There was an unconcealable horror in everyone's eyes. And at this time, the Vajra Ape King moved, only to see that its fists kept falling like iron hammers, hammering on the body of the one-horned rhinoceros continuously with an extremely violent posture. Roar! The one-horned rhinoceros howled again and again. Its huge body was beaten back again and again, and a lot of blood spattered from his skin continuously. I throw in the towel. A look of heartache flashed across Zi Yunchang's face, and he quickly admitted defeat. When the Vajra Ape King stopped, the one-horned rhinoceros was already lying on the ground, and its breath could be said to be extremely weak. With Zi Yunchang's end, the field has once again fallen into a strange silence. Everyone looked at one person and one beast in the field, and there was a hint of awe in their eyes. Zi Yunchang's strength is even stronger than Lu Feiyun's. But when facing Su-yun, there is still not much resistance. Basically defeated by being crushed. The strength of Su-yun, the imperial beast, is so powerful that it is unimaginable, especially the strange power and terrifying defensive power, it is simply impossible to handle. All of a sudden, most of the members of the number one high school elite class had given up their minds about playing. Facing the Vajra Ape King, it doesn't make any sense to remove the embarrassment based on their strength. Let me test your strength. I don't believe that an extraordinary monster is really invincible. After a while, another student with black-rimmed glasses appeared. Released his own beast. Name: Blue Wind Eagle. Level: Command the 7th level. Talent: Low level recovery, low level speed talent. Attribute: Wind. Bloodline: Low Lord. Skills: Wind Blade, Storm, High Altitude Dive. Ah! The Blue Wind Eagle uttered a cry, and as its wings vibrated, it had already flown into the sky. The Blue Wind Eagle has the ability to fly. If this giant ape doesn't have any long-range attack skills, then it is already invincible. This battle can be won. That's right, no matter how strong this giant ape's defense is, its physical strength cannot be endless. Seeing the appearance of the Blue Wind Eagle, some students couldn't help being overjoyed, and began to whisper to each other. Blue Wind Eagle, Wind Blade. The Blue Wind Eagle flapped its wings, and an incomparably sharp blade was formed in an instant, shooting towards the direction of the Vajra Ape King. Don't worry about King Kong Ape King, just smash it down. Su Yun secretly transmitted the voice. Boom! The huge wind blade fell on King Kong's Ape King, only a shallow white mark appeared, and did not cause any damage to him at all. Boom! The footsteps of the Vajra Ape King stomped the ground fiercely, and the hard ground beneath it cracked instantly, and countless broken stones were thrown into the air. Pieces of stones have been firmly grasped by the Vajra Ape King, and they are constantly thrown out by him. Boom! 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 Stones pierced the air one by one, and there were bursts of piercing sounds. Throwing the stones under the terrifying power of the Vajra Ape King, they were not only extremely fast, but each of them even possessed a terrifying destructive power comparable to that of a cannonball. Facing the stones falling from the sky, King Fengying seemed a little panicked. Dangerous, Blue Wind Eagle, get out of the way quickly. The man with glasses said hastily. The Blue Wind Eagle blinked in panic, although dodged all the stones. But the disturbed airflow still has to lose balance for a while. It's now, Su Yun shouted. Roar! The Vajra Ape King let out a roar, exerted a little force on his legs, and his body had already soared into the sky. A big hand grabbed the Blue Wind Eagle's neck, and threw it down viciously. Boom! Like a meteor falling to the ground. A huge deep pit was smashed into the ground. Blue Wind Eagle has already been severely injured. The number one high school, which claims to be full of geniuses, has only this level. It's really disappointing. Su Yun put one hand behind his back, looked around the audience, and often spoke. The Vajra Ape King also had a provocative look on his face, and his contempt was beyond words. What the two of them did. Fill up the ridicule directly. Finally someone couldn't bear it anymore. Jumped directly onto the ring. This person's strength is even higher than the three just now. Whether it is the strength of the beast or the combat experience, they are quite rich, and it is obvious that they have not only experienced a life and death battle. The tactic he adopts is to fight. But one thing was wrong. The Vajra Ape King, who possesses advanced speed talent, is actually very flexible. After accidentally getting punched, the Imperial Beast was already unconscious. But even so, there is also an endless stream of students challenging Su Yun. But in the face of the simple and brutal fighting style of the Vajra Ape King, none of the Imperial Beasts could survive for a minute before being defeated by the Vajra Ape King. Over time, more and more royal beasts were defeated by King Kong Ape King. The Vajra Ape King seemed to be an indefatigable war machine, and his aura did not weaken in the slightest, but instead became stronger and stronger. What kind of monster is this beast? Is there really no limit to his physical strength? All the students in No. 1 high school all looked ugly. They only felt that King Kong was like a hedgehog, without the slightest flaw at all. I don't know how long it has been. The number of people who used to challenge in an endless stream has become less and less. Till the end, only Su Yun and the Vajra Ape King stood in the center of the battlefield, as if they were kings, and everyone's hearts were captured by them. Ha ha ha, did you see Lao Sha? This is the number 1 expert in our elite class, isn't it amazing? Zhou Daifeng looked at Sha Chang, completely disregarding the occasion, and laughed wildly there. Chapter 31. Don't be complacent. Sha Chang looked at Zhou Daifeng's despicable villain, and his teeth itched with hatred, and he yelled loudly. Li Qianer, are you here? Here it comes, Mr. Sha, don't get angry, it's really scary. With the sound of a voice, only a group of students was being separated, and a beautiful woman with flowing long hair in the uniform of No. 1 high school had already stepped out of the crowd. It's Li Qianer, she finally appeared. This time I will definitely beat that Su Yun. Li Qianer is the first genius in our high school. Seeing Li Qianer stepping into the ring, all the students went completely crazy. Sister Li Qianer, come on, you must teach that person a lesson. Let him take a look at the strength of our No. 1 high school. The appearance of Li Qianer seemed to push the already quiet atmosphere of the No. 1 high school to a climax once again, and directly caused the sound of cheering and cheering like a mountain torrent and tsunami to resound in the field. I can give you half an hour to rest and let your beast master recover its strength. Li Qianer sized up Su Yun, smiled lightly and said, I don't want to take advantage of you. Su Yun shook his head and said, no need, the Vajra Ape King has plenty of physical strength. And there is no rest in the rules, and I don't want to take advantage of you. Hearing Su Yun's words, Li Qianer's smile remained unchanged and said, interesting, it seems that you are not generally confident. If that's the case, let's get started. As soon as Li Qianer's voice fell, the summoning circle has floated above the ground. A beautiful butterfly has appeared in midair. Named Red Flame Poison Butterfly. Level Command the 9 layers. Talent Low level Drug Control Talent, High level Speed Talent. Attribute Fire, Poison. Bloodline High Lord. Skills Flame Flower Dance, Poisonous Powder, Phantom Clone, Poisonous Needle. Oh, no wonder there is such confidence. Su Yun looked at the red flame poison butterfly with a cautious look on his face. This red flame poison butterfly is the highest among the opponents he has encountered, no matter in terms of bloodline or level. Don't be careless, the Vajra Ape King, use all your strength for a death charge. Su Yun said immediately. Rumble, the Vajra Ape King roared, and had already launched a charge, like an out-of-control locomotive, rushing towards the red flame poison butterfly like an avalanche. Su Yun felt threatened by the red flame poison butterfly, so he no longer let the Vajra Ape King hold back. So fast, he even hid his strength before. Such a speed, I'm afraid you must have advanced speed talent. It's unreasonable for such a big guy to have such a talent. Seeing the Vajra Ape King charging with all his strength, countless people were all surprised. The opponent who was defeated by Su Yun before even twitched his lips. If Su Yun showed such speed from the beginning, I'm afraid their beast master would be easily killed instantly. This speed, Li Qianer was also surprised, and hurriedly said, get out of the way, red flame poison butterfly. Boom, the ground under the red flame poison butterfly had been shattered by the impact of the Vajra Ape King, and the red flame poison butterfly dodged narrowly. Red flame poison butterfly, poison needle. Vajra Ape King, it's behind you. The Vajra Ape King didn't look back at all, he just clenched his fist and threw it out fiercely. Boom, the air seemed to explode for it, and a gust of wind roared away. All of a sudden, countless poisonous needles have been lifted up and fell to the ground feebly. Such a fist must not be hit once, otherwise the battle may be ended in an instant. Li Qianer's expression also changed when she saw that the King Kong Ape King's punch could strike such a terrifying style. And at this moment, the Vajra Ape King has once again rushed towards the red flame poison butterfly. Red flame poison butterfly, phantom clone, and then use poison needle. Upon receiving the master's order, the red flame poison butterfly uttered a cry, and with the flapping of its wings, it was split into 2, then into 4, and finally turned into as many as a dozen. Next moment, a large number of poisonous needles have been like raindrops, covering the Vajra Ape King. You can transform so many phantom clones, what a high skill level. As expected of Li Qianer's strongest beast, all the students showed horror when they saw this scene. Even the teachers looked amazed. HMPH, it's useless. Vajra Ape King, harden. A sneer appeared on Su Yun's face. The Vajra Ape King had an unruly expression on his face. No matter how well planned the kill is, as long as it can't break through his defense, it's all worthless. Hum, a metallic light glowed on King Kong's body, and his entire huge body jumped up. Jingle, One after another, the poisonous needles landed on King Vajra Ape King's body, and there was a sound of metallic clinking, as if they had hit a copper wall and an iron wall, and they were all thrown away one after another. You took the initiative to come in midair, you asked for it. A gleam flashed in Li Chinner's eyes, and she ordered loudly. Red flame poison butterfly, use highly poisonous powder. The wings of the red flame poison butterfly fluttered rapidly, and a large amount of poisonous powder swayed down, completely covering all directions of the Vajra Ape King. Under such circumstances, the possibility of any dodge has been eliminated at all. Although the two are constantly attacking and defending. But everything happened in an instant. Nice job. Sha Cheng clenched his fists excitedly as he watched the killing blow. Li Qianer should have won. After all, this is a poison attack. No matter how hard this giant ape's defense is, once it hits, it will definitely severely damage this giant ape. The other teachers were also talking about it. I am amazed at Li Chinner's ingenious and quick response. The idea is really good. If it was replaced by other ape beasts, I'm afraid it would have lost. But it doesn't include my Vajra Ape King. A smile appeared on Su Yun's face, and he said via voice transmission. King Vajra Ape, roar with all your might. The Vajra Ape King breathed heavily, his chest swelled as high as a balloon, and he roared suddenly. Roar! The terrifying roar reverberated in all directions, and the mighty sound waves caused ripples in the air. The poisonous powder around suddenly stagnated, and they were all blown away. Even the red flame poison butterfly was staggered by the impact, so he could only try his best to stabilize his figure. The power of a roar shocked the audience. Oh my god, it's obviously not a skill, but this roar is so powerful. Using this method to break the killing situation. Everyone clenched their ears tightly and subconsciously exclaimed, their faces full of shock. It's still possible to do this. Li Qianer, who was rubbing her ears, had an extremely serious expression on her face. So strong, really strong, it can't be measured by common sense at all. It never occurred to him that facing a superhuman beast would put him and her in such a hard fight. Boom, boom, boom. The Vajra Ape King, who had resolved the crisis, slapped his chest excitedly, and the aura all over his body began to grow rapidly. Under everyone's amazed gaze, the Vajra Ape King's level of the 8th level of the extraordinary broke through in one fell swoop, directly reaching the 9th level of the extraordinary. It actually broke through. It couldn't be more difficult to deal with. Seeing the soaring King Kong ape, all the students became more and more depressed. Very good, Vajra Ape King, let's attack again. Su Yun said immediately. Next moment, the Vajra Ape King started with all his strength. His whole body seemed to leave an afterimage faintly in the air, and rushed towards the red flame poisonous butterfly. Don't let it come near. Li Qianer ordered without hesitation. Joke. After everything just now, not to mention letting the red flame poison butterfly bear the fist of the Vajra Ape King, Li Qianer would never allow it to touch even a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. The entire battlefield roared continuously. The Vajra Ape King is constantly launching offensives. Every punch and every kick will cause great damage to the battlefield, and the entire land has become a mess. However, the red flame poison butterfly used his flexibility to the extreme, almost avoiding the attack of the Vajra Ape King almost every time. Do you want to fight with me until the end, to see who has more energy? Su Yun looked at Li Qianer from a distance, and said calmly. The red flame poison butterfly was not a beast master who was good at physical strength. Although the Vajra Ape King has experienced many battles, his physical strength is definitely higher than that of the red flame poison disc. My beast master can't be compared with your physical monster. So I'm going to make a quick decision. A flash of determination flashed in Li Chinner's eyes, and she ordered. Red flame poison butterfly, fully launch the flame flower dance. The red flame poison butterfly screamed, barely getting rid of the entanglement of the Vajra Ape King, and exuded an extremely scorching breath from all over its body. Spiritual art, flame coat. Li Qianer instantly activated the spirit technique. In the blink of an eye, there seems to be a coat of flames on the whole body of the red flame poison butterfly, and the scorching breath it emits is getting stronger and stronger, as if it is a dancing fire elf. Next moment, countless sparks have drifted down, and finally turned into overwhelming flames, enveloping the Vajra Ape King. The flame is very powerful, but it may not be able to break through the defense of the Vajra Ape King. Such an attack is completely meaningless. What exactly does Lee Kyaner want to do? Everyone looked at this scene and frowned slightly. But the next moment, everyone's eyes widened, because Lee Kyaner has already shot again. Spiritual spell, flame boost. Spiritual art, gust of wind. All of a sudden, the power of the flames suddenly soared. There was an endless gust of wind blowing in the arena. The wind aids the fire. The originally mighty flame seemed to have turned into a sea of flames, and its power had been increased several times. The terrifying flames scorched the air, as if even steel could be instantly melted by it. Watch it all. Some teachers showed a look of horror. Such power, even they are a little scared. Su Yun. Both Lu Yutong and Gao Feng showed nervous expressions. Zhou Daifeng's face was also a little tangled. This was just an exchange match, and he didn't want Su Yun's imperial beast to be killed or injured. Ended. Sha Cheng breathed a sigh of relief, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, as if he had seen the defeat of the Vajra Ape King. But the next moment, something that horrified everyone happened. All I saw was that the original huge body of the Vajra Ape King began to swell rapidly, reaching a full 10 feet away, as if it was level with the surrounding teaching buildings. An incomparably ferocious aura swept over the audience continuously, as if a prehistoric beast descended here. Spirituality, gigantic. King Vajra Ape, use the smash fist to defeat him. Under everyone's shocking eyes, the Vajra Ape King uttered an earth-shattering roar. His arms were bent and straightened, and his fist like a millstone had been struck hard. Boom, accompanied by a roar. The air showed shattering visible to the naked eye. Endless power has erupted like a mountain torrent and tsunami, and landed on the monstrous sea of flames. The flame suddenly stopped. The monstrous fire that seemed to be able to melt everything, seemed to have encountered a nemesis in front of that power that shattered everything, and it was impossible to go beyond the thunder. Next moment, the overwhelming flames have completely shattered and completely disappeared. The entire arena was silent. Everyone stared blankly at all this. It seemed that a piece of sky had been shattered, and dense cracks appeared. Everyone's eyes are full of shock. That shattering force was even more powerful, piercing the sky in an instant, enveloping the red flame poison butterfly. Be careful, the red flame poison butterfly is out of the way. Lee Kyaner shouted anxiously. There was no need for Lee Kyaner to speak. The red flame poison disc had already begun to dodge with difficulty, and barely avoided the punch, but was still swept by the edge and fell directly from the sky. So far, the victory and defeat have been divided. After half a sound, there was an uproar in the whole arena. My God, what kind of skill is this, and what kind of terrifying power is this? I must be dreaming. Is this the power that an extraordinary beast can explode? The bloodline of this royal beast cannot be king level, or else it can't explain all this at all. Zhou Daifeng's face was also a little dull, looking at the King Kong Ape King who looked like a fierce god in the field. I also thought of Su Yun's perverted Xiaobai. For a moment, my imagination ran wild. Maybe, in their 9th high school, maybe there will be a champion in the college entrance examination. Sha Cheng in the distance also came back to his senses, and quickly ran to Zhou Daifeng's side and said, "Tell me about the conditions. Why did you allow Zhang Suyun to transfer to our school? Come on, do you think I'm stupid or the principal is stupid?" Zhou Daifeng sneered disdainfully. Hey, don't say that, everything is negotiable. Sha Cheng smiled all over his face. Don't talk about it, don't even think about it. Zhou Daifeng firmly refused. Handing over such a genius to others, what are you kidding about? You won, you are really strong. Lee Kyaner checked the injury of the red flame poison butterfly and found that there was nothing serious, so she was slightly relieved, and admitted defeat to Su Yun with some bitterness. Her expression was faintly unwilling. Although a woman. But she also has a strong competitive spirit. To each other, among all the opponents I have met, you may be the strongest one. Su Yun replied very sincerely. Your name is Su Yun, right? I will remember your name and wait for my next challenge. Happy to accompany you anytime. Su Yun nodded to Lee Kyaner. Being able to compete with powerful enemies is also a fast way to become stronger. The promotion of King Kong Ape King is the proof. Wait until Lee Kyaner ends. Su Yun looked around and said slowly. Anyone else wants to come up and challenge? Although Su Yun's words were extremely plain, they seemed to have overwhelming power. Everyone glanced at the hill-like Vajra ape king next to Su Yun, and all involuntarily avoided Su Yun's gaze. No one dared to go up to challenge at all. It doesn't matter if you lose. If the imperial beast is crushed to death with a single punch. There is really no place to reason. That's it. This exchange game between the two schools. It came to an end in an anticlimactic fashion. Ninth High School. It was almost dusk when Su Yun and others came back by the school bus, and the whole school had almost left. The students of the entire elite class also gathered in place. Su Yun was stopped by Zhou Daifeng and threw a booklet to him. Here, this is the spirit technique promised to you. I believe that no one will have any objections to giving it to you. Su Yun took it subconsciously, and saw the words, Spiritual Power Impact, written on it. This is a book of spiritual art that I obtained by chance. Its power is also remarkable. If you use it well, it will be your life-saving whole card. Let's practice hard. Zhou Daifeng waved his hand at Su Yun and walked away. Su Yun looked at this spirit book, and the attribute information came into his eyes. Name: Psychic Shock. Function: use spiritual power as an impact. Resource point enhancement: 0/100. It actually takes 100 resource points to strengthen an upgrade. Seeing all this, Su Yun couldn't help but shrink his pupils slightly. It is definitely the one that requires the most resources to strengthen among all the spiritual arts he has encountered. It seems that the evaluation potential of this spirit book in the system is not low. Su Yun secretly thought. Subconsciously, Su Yun glanced at his pitiful resource points, and shook his head slightly. It seems that the money needs to be exchanged for resources. Su Yun has not forgotten that he still has tens of millions of unregistered limit cards. It's just that I just came back from the wild yesterday, and I haven't had time to spend it yet. Su Yun left the school and took a taxi to the east of the city. By this time night had fallen. But it's still brightly lit. Because this is the most prosperous place in the whole city. It is also one of the areas where pre-sales resources are most concentrated. All kinds of shops are erected on both sides of the street. Even some streets above. You can even see some beast masters who have just returned from the wild, setting up a stall at random and selling there. Su Yun began to buy a lot on the street stalls. Because there is no venue fee. The things on these stalls are much cheaper than in stores. However, it is very easy to encounter fakes. Fortunately, Su Yun has a system panel, and can easily see through the attributes of these items, but he doesn't care about it at all. Wait until Su Yun sweeps from the street to the end of the street. The money on my body has already been spent. The backpack behind him stores a large amount of various materials for exchanging resource points, as well as a small amount of resources that the two beasts need to evolve. I'm really looking forward to the appearance after the spiritual impact is strengthened. Su Yun touched the spirit book in his arms, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He has a hunch. This spirit book will give him a big surprise. When Su Yun turned to leave, his expression changed slightly. I have deliberately not used the space bag, I just don't want to attract people's attention, but I didn't expect to be targeted. A sneer appeared on the corner of Su Yun's mouth, pretending not to notice, gradually left the bustling street and came to a very desolate place. Since you've been with me for so long, shouldn't you have already come out? Or you are so timid, but now you are afraid. Su Yun turned around, facing the darkness in the distance, and spoke slowly. It seems that you have already found me. But you still came to such a place. It seems that you are very confident in yourself. With a chuckle, a man with a scar on his face came out from behind a barrier in the distance. His body exuded third-order spiritual power fluctuations, and there was a faint smell of blood while walking. There must be quite a few people who died in his hands. Confidence is out of the question. Su Yun glanced at the man with the scar and said, "But I know very well that once a guy like you sets his sights on the target, he will never give up easily. So instead of being stared at by you, it's better to solve you now." The man with the scar was a little surprised, and said, "What you said is indeed right. It seems that you are not a fledgling fat sheep. I admire you a little bit. But you shouldn't, revealing such a large wealth without strength, this is your way of death." "Yes," Su Yun smiled indifferently and said, "but in my opinion, Shooting at me was your biggest mistake, and that's why you should be killed. As soon as Su Yun's voice fell, the summoning circle had already appeared in front of him. Xiao Bai, dressed in pure white, walked out of the summoning circle with graceful steps. Wu, looking at the man with the scar, Xiao Bai cried out in a low voice, a faint killing intent flashed in the long and narrow fox eyes. Anyone who wants to attack the master must die. Commander-level beast familiar, it seems that you do have some strength. No wonder you have such confidence. The man with the scar looked at Xiao Bai with a surprised expression on his face, but he still said disdainfully. But this still can't change your ending. Come out, lizard. The summoning circle emerged. An extremely violent breath began to rage in the arena, and a huge cyan lizard appeared on the ground. Name: Jungle Lizard. Level: Command the 9 layers. Talent: Intermediate Speed Talent, Low-Level Recovery Talent. Attribute: Poison. Bloodline: High Commander. Skills: Poison Tongue Coil, Venom, Assault. CC. The jungle lizard walked forward slowly. Its body 2 meters away was not comparable to Xiao Bai's at all. It was clearly looking at the head, but there was a sense of condescension. There was even a hint of disdain in the eyes of the jungle lizard. In his opinion, Xiao Bai is simply a food that can be hunted and killed at will. This is the gap between you and me. You will eventually pay the price for your arrogance. A look of confidence appeared on the face of the man with the scar, and he wasn't even going to summon another imperial beast. If according to common sense, he did so through no fault of his own. After all, his strength is far superior to that of the opponent. But it's a pity. All of Su Yun's royal beasts are not monsters that can be treated with common sense. Jungle lizard, use poisonous tongue to entangle. Let this fox be your food. The man with the scar faced the order coldly. Next moment, the jungle lizard opened its mouth wide, and its purple tongue had ejected, exuding a faint stench, sweeping towards Xiao Bai. Facing this blow, Xiao Bai's expression didn't change at all. His whole figure jumped up in an instant. The terrifying speed seemed to make him turn into a white light, and he dodged easily. Xiao Bai, breath of ice. Su Yun said. Wu. Xiao Bai uttered a cry, and endless cold currents bloomed in his mouth. The breath of ice at full level was like a blizzard, easily freezing the air and covering all directions. Silently, the breath of ice has landed on the jungle lizard. As soon as its tongue was retracted halfway, it was already frozen in place, and its entire body seemed to be turned into an ice sculpture of art, standing on the ground like that. Swish, click, Xiao Bai's figure flickered, and his claws had completely smashed the jungle lizard's body. Stepping on the frozen body fragments, endless cold air overflowed, as if he was an ice queen. What? Seeing that his own jungle lizard was already dead without a place to bury him just between Setsuna, the scarred man's face was full of horror, and the figure had already jumped back, trying to distance himself from Xiao Bai. Get rid of him, Xiao Bai. Su Yun said coldly. This is a battle of life and death. It is the real kingly way to take the lead in solving the beast master. Spiritual spells, spiritual rings. A look of panic flashed across the scarred man's face, but his reaction speed was also extremely fast. A spiritual spell was released, and a large amount of spiritual power turned into rings, which were continuously blocked on Xiao Bai's body. Click. Xiao Bai exerted all his strength, and the spiritual rings all over his body were completely broken. But this short period of time, the man with the scar has been brought out of crisis. It seems that I did underestimate you, but you still have to die today. The scarred man's face was a little ferocious, and the aura of his whole body soared to the sky, and the spiritual power on his body had exceeded the limit of the 3rd level. This scarred man, it turned out to be a Tier 4 beast master. Did you hide your aura? Seeing this scene, Su Yun also showed surprise on his face. At the same time, the summoning circle emerged. The endless gust of wind swept away directly, and a huge lion with cyan hair all over the body has slowly emerged. Name: Stormy Lion Beast. Level: 2nd level of the Lord. Talent: High level Strength Talent, Low level Recovery Talent. Attribute: Wind. Bloodline: Low Lord. Skills: Wind Blade, Raging Wind, Roaring Shockwave, Wind Claw. Roar. As soon as the Storm Lion Beast appeared, it let out a roar that shook the sky, fully revealing its majesty as the king of beasts. Sure enough, it really has a Lord-level beast. A trace of seriousness appeared in Su Yun's eyes. A Lord-level royal beast. even in the entire Jinfang city. Definitely a strong man. Su Yun hesitated for a moment, and prepared to summon the Vajra Ape King to fight against the enemy together, just to be sure. Wu, feeling the powerful aura of the stormy lion beast, Xiaobai cried out excitedly, the fighting spirit in his eyes was as real as it was. Noob, sensing Xiaobai's fighting spirit, Su Yun's expression was also moved, and he immediately gave up the plan to summon the Vajra Ape King. It seems that Xiaobai, you are very excited. If this is the case, then knock down this lord-level beast. A smile appeared on the corner of Su Yun's mouth. Since Xiaobai is like this, as a beast master, he will respect his beast master as much as possible. Roar! The storm wild lion beast roared contemptuously, its incomparably violent aura instantly swept across the audience, and the surrounding earth trembled faintly. If it wasn't for this place, it would be very remote. I am afraid that the patrol team has already been called to investigate. But facing the aura of the stormy lion beast, Xiaobai's expression remained unchanged, only the muscles all over his body were tense, as if a fatal blow might erupt at any time. Get rid of it, stormy lion beast, use the roaring shockwave. The man with the scar said grimly. Roar! The storm wild lion beast opened its mouth wide, and its terrifying roar turned into an invisible impact, tearing the air apart with ease. Xiaobai dodges. On one side of Xiaobai's figure, he has already passed this invisible shock wave sideways. Boom! The ground in the distance cracked instantly, and a huge god pit was directly bombarded by the roaring shock wave, showing an incomparably astonishing terrifying power. At the same time, the scarred man smiled coldly. As if all of this had been expected long ago, the second order had already been secretly transmitted. Laugh! The storm wild lion beast attacked again, and a wind blade pierced the sky like a sharp blade. The speed of the wind blade is extremely fast. Aim at the gap where Xiaobai dodges. Even Xiaobai's speed is almost hard to dodge. Xiaobai, ice armor. Su Yun's voice sounded at the right time. Between Setsuna, the endless chill has already spread from Xiaobai's body, turning into an incomparably exquisite ice armor, completely covering his whole body. Boom! Accompanied by a roar, the wind blade had already landed hard on the ice armor, only blasting a slight crack in it. However, that impact force still lifted Xiaobai into the air. Kill him, stormy lion beast. The man with the scar stared at Su Yun, and secretly sent a voice transmission to the storm-mad lion beast. Roar! A ferocious look flashed in the eyes of the blizzard lion beast, and it stepped on the ground with all fours, making a deafening roar, and rushed towards Su Yun. Spirit shield technique. Su Yun's expression changed, his hands were stretched out quickly, and a large amount of spiritual power turned into a protective shield, completely nude his whole body. Bang! Crack! Accompanied by a muffled sound. The blizzard lion had already hit the spiritual shield, and the terrifying force caused cracks in it. Su Yun could only feel that the remaining spiritual power in his body was rapidly consumed. Wu, Xiaobai, who had already tumbled to the ground, let out an anxious roar, and endless flames burned all over his body, leaving a stream of red light directly in the midair, and air strikes on the stormy lion beast, the terrifying heat burning its fur, sending it flying sideways howling. A deep gully was left on the ground. Woo woo woo. Xiaobai roared angrily, killing intent surged out of his whole body. Unforgivable. It almost hurt the owner. You look very angry, but it doesn't make any sense. With you, it is impossible to be the opponent of my storm-mad lion. There was a playful look on the face of the man with the scar, and he was sure of winning. The storm-mad lion beast in the distance also stood up staggeringly, and the fiery burn on the mountain also slowly healed under his low recovery talent. Do you think you can win? Su Yun looked at the scarred man with a sneer on his face, and said to Xiaobai. Get ready to go all out. Use the source to liberate. Xiaobai, whose killing intent had reached its peak, couldn't bear it any longer. Hearing Su Yun's order at this moment, a high-pitched chirp came out. Woo woo. Its two pure white tails fluttered in midair, its pure white hair moved without wind, and two completely different auras of ice and fire swept away in all directions. The scarred man's eyes widened, and there was a hint of horror in his eyes. In his eyes at this time, Xiaobai seemed to have turned into a prehistoric beast, and the terrifying aura he emitted was even worse than those lord-level beasts he encountered. Roar! The blizzard lion beast roared again and again, and Xiaobai's rising aura made him feel extremely uneasy. Finally, Xiaobai's whole body's aura has completely exploded. He is clearly standing on the ground, but he seems to be in the realm of ice and fire, making the entire battlefield present two completely different temperatures. Little Bai, let them see your strength, Su Yun said lightly. Boom, Xiaobai stepped on the ground with all four hooves, and the ground completely exploded in an instant, carrying endless murderous aura, and rushed towards the storm-mad lion beast. At this moment, Xiaobai's speed was extremely fast. It is several times faster than before. There was no chance to give the man with the scar a designation. It had already arrived in front of the stormy lion beast, and endless cold air radiated from its paws. Ice claw, poof, a cold glow flickered. A large amount of blood has been spattered. A huge frozen wound had already appeared on the body of the storm-mad lion beast, which made him howl terribly. Xiaobai, Fang of Ice. Xiaobai had already opened his big mouth gleaming with cold air, and bit towards the neck of the storm madman beast. Storm lion beast, the scarred man exclaimed. A pentagram formation appeared in front of him, and two royal beasts jumped out of it. Name, Poison Needle Bee. Level, leading the first level. Talent, low level speed talent. Attribute, poison. Bloodline, middle commander. Skills, poisonous sting, fast flashing, shuttle slash. Name, vine leaf grass. Level, extraordinary 9 layers. Talent, low level recovery talent. Attribute, grass. Bloodline, low commander. Skills, flying leaves, devouring seeds, earth vines. Stop it quickly. The man with the scar who was worried about the safety of the storm lion beast could no longer take care of it, so he could only give orders to the two royal beasts that were far from being able to become combat power. Su Yun said indifferently, "Come out, Vajra Ape King." As soon as Su Yun's voice fell, the Vajra Ape King had jumped out of the summoning circle, facing the two royal beasts of vine leaf grass. A tyrannical look flashed in his eyes. The strange force exploded. Boom. The muscles all over King Kong's body swelled rapidly. His unparalleled strength was about to come out, and his fists had already come out vertically and horizontally. Boom, boom, accompanied by two muffled sounds. Just 2 punches. The two imperial beasts flew upside down with howling, and finally fell powerlessly to the ground, completely losing their vitality. At the same time, Xiaobai had already bit the storm lion beast tightly with one bite. The terrifying cold burst out completely, and quickly froze the blood of the storm lion beast. Roar! The storm-mad lion beast howled in pain, and began to struggle desperately, but it couldn't break free at all. Instead, Xiaobai kept falling one claw after another, leaving a series of frozen-proof wounds on his body. How come? Seeing all this, the man with the scar only felt extremely cold all over his body. Without any hesitation, he turned around and ran. But not a few steps out. I just feel a blur in front of my eyes. The huge figure of the Vajra Ape King had already appeared in front of his eyes, and his huge fist was infinitely magnified. Boom! The bones of the scarred man's whole body shattered in an instant, and his whole body flew high like a kite with a broken string, and he was completely silent before he even landed. With the death of the master, the storm-mad lion beast that had struggled so weakly was instantly killed, and fell powerlessly to the ground. Su Yun quickly swept the battlefield, but only got a few 1 million unregistered cards. Anyway, he is a 4th-order powerhouse, so he is really poor. Su Yun looked at the corpse of the man with the scar, with a look of disgust on his face. But he also knows, this is also impossible. This is not the wild, except for items like space bags, otherwise no one will carry a lot of resource materials with them. Little Bai, burn them. After Su Yun gave the order to destroy the corpses, he quickly left here. Su Yun's home. Su Yun had already prepared food for the little white beasts, while he sat on the sofa. This guy's strength is indeed very strong. If it wasn't for the resource-intensive cultivation of the beast familiar, and he only had one lord familiar, I'm afraid I would be in danger this time. Su Yun rubbed his chin and muttered to himself in a low voice. My current strength is still not strong enough. Think here. Su Yun picked up the backpack, poured out all the resource materials, and turned all of them into resource points. Resource points. 1035. Looking at the thousands of resource points, Su Yun chose to strengthen the spiritual impact without hesitation. Name, Spiritual transformation. Function. You can freely manipulate the form of spiritual power to attack and defend. The stronger the spiritual power, the greater the power. It's really a practical spiritual technique. Su-yun felt the memory that appeared in his mind, and there was a look of admiration on his face. One of his hands slowly stretched out, and a large amount of spiritual power surged out, first turning into a huge fist, then into a long sword of spiritual power, and even into an invisible impact. The value of this spiritual technique is probably immeasurable. Feeling the consumption of his spiritual power, Su-yun's mouth showed a touch of admiration. You can say it without hesitation. The emergence of spiritual power incarnation. It greatly made up for his lack of spiritual skills, not only gave him a greater self-protection ability, but even his combat effectiveness improved linearly. Next words. Su-yun looked at the two little white beasts, leaving only a partial resource point, and used the rest on the two beasts. Noob. Top speed talent LV7. Flame body LV10. King Kong ape. Top strength talent LV6. Hardened LV10. All of a sudden, the auras of Xiaobai and the Vajra ape king also began to increase infinitely. Xiaobai's hair all over his body became smoother and more supple, his figure became more vigorous, and he has grown to the 5th level of leadership. The Vajra ape king broke through the extraordinary limit in one fell swoop and reached the 2nd level of leadership. Sure enough, the further you go, the more resource points you need to improve the strength of the two beasts, which is far less rapid than before. Su-yun looked at the levels of the two beasts, nodded secretly, and said to himself. However, both of my beast masters have reached the commander level now. It seems that I also need to work hard to break through to the realm of the 3rd level beast master as soon as possible. Think here. Su-yun crossed his knees directly on the carpet, circulated the spiritual power in his body, and entered the state of cultivation. Very early in the morning. Su-yun, who practiced all night, slowly opened his eyes. The spiritual power in his body expanded again, and he was getting closer and closer to the 2nd order peak. At this speed, it should be possible to break through the 3rd level before the college entrance examination. Su-yun murmured to himself, and began to simply wash up and prepare food for himself and the two beasts. Among them, I received a call from my father. The two had a brief conversation, then hung up the phone in a hurry, obviously busy again. Su-yun shook his head helplessly. It's not that he hasn't persuaded his parents to put down their jobs. Now he is fully capable of supporting the two elders, but he has already been dismissed by the two just as soon as he speaks, and there is no room for him to continue. After breakfast, Su-yun took the little and white beasts back to the beast familiar space, and had already left the house. Originally, Su-yun was planning to go to school. But when passing by an internet cafe, he stopped. Internet cafe here. It is completely different from the previous life. It is definitely a genuine high-consumption place. Each hour costs thousands of dollars. Because this is completely prepared for the Beast Master. The ownership completely belongs to the Sea Blue Federation. Only need to create an account, you can enter the virtual world to fight. There is neither injury nor death here. Will not reflect reality. But the combat experience gained is real. So it is very popular with some Beast Masters. Even the annual college entrance examination, unless there are special circumstances, will be assessed in the virtual world. And the reason why Su-yun stopped. It is completely a huge banner above the internet cafe, clearly stating the Arena Yum contest. The following are the specific rules. Players participating in the competition are limited to Beast Masters below the 4th rank. In the Yum contest, every time you win a game, you will get corresponding points. The more games you win in a row, the more points you get. The points obtained can also be used to purchase real items in the arena. Even if you achieve 100 consecutive victories, you can also win mystery prizes. It's good to see it. There was a smile on the corner of Su-yun's mouth, and he had already walked into the internet cafe. After driving for 8 hours, he walked into the virtual metal warehouse where he was, and pressed the login button. In the blink of an eye. Su-yun only felt that the scenery around him changed drastically, and the whole world changed instantly. 1 second, he was still in the metal cabin full of technological atmosphere, and the next second he was already in a strange huge square. And in the distance, it is a majestic hall. That's where you can enter the battle platform for Beast Masters. On the outside of the square, there is a green forest, which makes it impossible to see the end. The virtual world is really a magical place. Su-Yun also came here for the first time. After all, he really didn't have spare money to use the virtual metal warehouse before. Take a deep breath. Su-Yun can even feel the fragrance of the soil, and the ground under his feet is full of reality, without any feeling of unreality. And at this time, a metallic sound sounded. Welcome to the virtual battle platform. The player logs in for the first time. Please choose a nickname for yourself. Noob. Su-Yun directly entered Xiaobai's name and walked towards the ring in the distance. There are not a few people in the same direction as him. Su-Yun could even clearly feel the fluctuations in their spiritual power. Some people are just rookies at the first level, but there are not a few masters at the third level. This world is definitely not simple. It can no longer be solved by pure science and technology. I am afraid that a lot of spiritual arts and beast control abilities have been used, otherwise it is absolutely impossible to achieve this level. Su-Yun walked and watched, with a look of admiration on his face. If it continues to develop for a long time, it is not impossible for this world to evolve into a second place for human activities. Virtual Battle Hall. Su-Yun has already stepped into it. Compared to the outside world, it can be said that there are a sea of people here. There is also a winning streak ranking on the big virtual screen in the middle. And at this time, the cold metal sound sounded again. The player has entered the battle area, whether to fight. Yes. Whether to participate in the Battle of the 100-game winning streak event. Yes. Do you want to start now? Yes. System matching. System matching is complete. Player. Xiaobai. Current streak. 0. Player. Weak scholar. Current streak. 0. The battle screen flickered in front of Su-Yun for a moment. The environment around him has completely changed, and the whole person appears in a huge arena. And not far ahead, is standing his opponent. It was a student-like man wearing black-rimmed glasses, and he summoned his imperial beast without hesitation. The summoning circle emerged. A royal beast has appeared on the ring. Name, Black Cat. Level, Awakening Ninefold. Talent, Low-level Speed Talent. Attribute, Common. Bloodline. Low Commander. Skills, Tearing, Dashing. Su-Yun looked at the black cat, and the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. Is this some suspicion of bullying? Shook his head. The Vajra Ape King has been summoned. Roar. As soon as the Vajra Ape King left the factory, it let out a roar that shook the sky. Meow. The black cat frowned, as if frightened, and hid behind its owner. Ding. Player Weak Scholar admits defeat. Player Xiaobai wins, winning streak +1. Points +5 inches. Following the prompt, the person and cat in front of them had disappeared. Huchi. King Kong's expression was rather depressed. He didn't even see his opponent clearly. The winner has already been decided. It's really speechless. Don't worry, there will be strong opponents. Su-Yun comforted the Vajra Ape King and chose to continue the battle. Soon, a second opponent has emerged. Name, White Beetle. Level, Extraordinary 7th level. Talent, Low-level Speed Talent, Low-level Strength Talent. Attribute, Insect. Bloodline. Advanced and Extraordinary. Skills, Corner Collision, Meteor Fist, Noise Wave. Defeat him, White Beetle King. This time, the opponent did not hesitate, and directly directed the White Beetle to attack. But he came fast. Fly faster. The Vajra Ape King waved it casually, and it flew out. It was easy to win. Soon, the third opponent was successfully matched. This is a middle-aged man. His beast is a huge jellyfish. Name, Poisonous Jellyfish. Level, Command the Triple. Talent, Low-level Recovery Talent, Low-level Strength Talent. Attribute, Water. Bloodline, High Commander. Skills, Stinger, Coil, Water Wave. Have you reached the commanding level? A smile appeared on Su-Yun's face. It seems that the battle platform has already preliminarily judged his strength, and directly raised the opponent quickly. But it suits him. Phew. The Vajra Barbarian King raised a little interest and looked at the poisonous jellyfish. What's the matter with the matching system? I will be matched with someone who only won 2 games. The middle-aged man frowned slightly, but then revealed a confident smile. Although strength has many components. But here, the winning streak is absolutely crucial. Against a guy who has only won 2. He didn't mind a free victory. Without the slightest hesitation, the middle-aged man gave the order. Poisonous jellyfish, entangled. The poisonous jellyfish screamed, and several tentacles swung away like ropes, directly entangled King Kong Ape King. Sure enough, the strength is not very good. Seeing that the Vajra Ape King didn't dodge, the man smiled proudly and said, "Throw it out." The poisonous jellyfish exerted force instantly. But an embarrassing scene appeared. The poisonous jellyfish had tried its best, and even its appearance was slowly turning red, but it couldn't shake King Kong Ape even a little bit. No matter how stupid the middle-aged man was, he realized that something was wrong, and quickly said, "Poisonous jellyfish, use the stinger." King Vajra Ape, stop playing, harden. The voices of the two sounded at the same time. Countless poisonous thorns stretched out from the tentacles and landed on King Kong's body, but they didn't even pierce the skin. Roar! The Vajra Ape King roared, and the tentacles all over his body were broken by indescribable force, as if an out-of-control locomotive crashed forward. Boom! The poisonous jellyfish had no time to dodge, and was instantly exploded. Su Yun took the win again. Go ahead and start matching opponents. Every next opponent. The strength of the Imperial beasts are all at the commanding level. But none of the battles lasted too long. The Vajra Ape King didn't even use any skills. With the terrifying power of the high-level top-strength talent, as long as the enemy is approached by him, he will be defeated by his fist. Very few Imperial beasts can withstand 2 punches. 10 games, 20 games, 30 games, 40 games. In just 3 hours, Su Yun has won an extremely terrifying 40 consecutive victories. And still fighting tirelessly there. Battle Hall. Su Yun's winning streak. It has already attracted the attention of some interested people. Who is this guy named Xiaobai? In just 3 hours, he has won 40 consecutive victories. What kind of terrifying strength is this? Oh my god, he won again. I remember his opponent, but there is a triangular sparrow that dominates the 5 layers, and it didn't last a minute in his hands. Isn't it a bit too exaggerated? It's probably another evildoer who has never played a virtual battle platform. Otherwise, he would never be able to achieve this level. I don't know how far he will go. Could it really be possible to achieve 100 consecutive victories? What are you thinking? Just 40 wins is nothing. It's not like you don't know what the matching system is. The opponents he meets will definitely become stronger and stronger. How can he win so easily? Yeah, if you want me to say that 100 consecutive victories in battles is a gimmick, no one can do it. If you accidentally lose a game, you have to start all over again. Countless people discussed and began to express their opinions. Oh my god, 50 in a row. No, I can't help it anymore. I want to watch his fight. Isn't it just to spend some money? Count me in. And I. Some people who were no longer satisfied with watching the virtual panel began to spend money and entered the spectator mode. Time passed quickly. Su Yun commanded the Vajra Ape King Lianji, and more spectators watched him fight. It turned out to be an instant kill with 1 punch. What a terrifying power. Oh my god, I've watched so many battles with him, and I haven't even seen him use skills much. What kind of strength is this? This giant ape probably possesses an extremely rare top-level power talent, otherwise it would never be able to do this. 78 wins in a row. Is it true that no one can stop his footsteps? Seeing my invincible Su Yun, countless viewers communicated in the chat room. I was deeply shocked by Su Yun's power. Under their gaze, Su Yun's opponent in the 79th match appeared. This is a young man wearing gold-rimmed glasses. He has a very gentle expression on his face, but the eyes behind the mirror flash a sharp light from time to time. It's him, I know him, his name is Yijian Hangguang, and he is a veteran who has been on the Battle Royale platform all year round. An audience member hastily spoke. I don't know if he can end Xiaobai's winning streak. Everyone stared at the battlefield, watching the next development. And in the field at this time, Yijian coldly looked at Su Yun and said, "You are that Xiaobai, but you have already won 70 consecutive victories in 1 day, so you do have some strength. But it's a pity, since you met me, your winning streak will come to an end." Su Yun said lightly, "Yes, I hope you have the strength to match this confidence. After all the battles so far, my Vajra Ape King is very boring." The Vajra Ape King at the side also roared when he heard the words, showing a provocative look on his face. Humph! Yijian coldly snorted and said, I will let you taste the taste of defeat immediately. Come out, Doka. In the blink of an eye, the summoning circle emerged. A huge figure walked out of the summoning circle with steps that shook the ground. Name, Doka Beast. Level, Command the 7th level. Talent, Low level Recovery Talent, High level Strength Talent. Attribute, Soil. Bloodline, High Lord. Skills, Rock Fist, Earth Impact, Rock Skin, Ground Fisher. This is Yijian Hangguang's Royal Beast, a mid-blooded Doka Beast. This is the first time I've seen it. What a terrifying aura, that giant ape will definitely meet his opponent this time. All the audience looked at the Doka Beast with anticipation on their faces. Although the King Kong Ape King's instant kill battle is refreshing to watch, it is not as exciting as the battle between dragons and tigers. Doka Beast, first use the rock skin, and then trample on it. Yijian Hangguang immediately issued an order. Roar. The Doka Beast roared, its whole body was covered by rocks, and it even launched a crazy charge, its whole body was entwined with the energy of the earth. Wherever his figure has passed, the battlefield has been split apart at a speed visible to the naked eye. Vajra Ape King, harden, and then death crash. Su Yun didn't intend to dodge at all, and directly planned to confront the tough with the head. Swish. The Vajra Ape King also rushed out, his skin and hair glowed like metal, and he ruthlessly greeted him. Boom. Accompanied by a huge roar. King Kong Ape King and Doka Beast have collided together. See centering on both. The earth began to shatter at a speed visible to the naked eye. Huge cracks opened in all directions. Huge air waves rolled in all directions. Next moment, the rocky skin on Doka's body shattered, and the entire huge body had retreated more than a few steps. The Vajra Ape King just staggered and stood firmly on the spot. Just one hit. It's clear who wins and who loses. Sure enough, the power of your beast master is indeed as terrifying as the rumors. A trace of solemnity flashed across Yijian's cold eyes, but he still said, but the one who wins this battle must be me. Spiritual, hardness. Spiritual spell, strength increase. Spiritual technique, weight increase. As soon as Yijian Hangguang's voice fell, a series of spiritual spells surged out and landed on the body of the Doka Beast. Boom. The Doka Beast's aura became extremely violent, and its mighty aura soared into the sky, as if it had multiplied several times in an instant, and its whole body was filled with an indescribable sense of oppression. Roar. At this time, the King Kong Ape King also felt the pressure, but he didn't feel the slightest fear, but became more and more excited. Fight till now. Finally waited for an interesting enemy. Dorkamon, Fist of the Rock. Vajra Ape King, the strange force burst out and defeated him. Su Yun's voices sounded at the same time. The two behemoths in the field have already made some moves. The rocky cover above the Dokuman's fist. The muscles of the Vajra Ape King's whole body were raised high. Boom. The air then exploded, under everyone's gaze. The fists of King Kong Ape King and Doka Beast have already collided. There was a whimper in the surrounding air. Their eyes are facing each other. Already fighting together. Boom, boom, boom. The fists of the two giant beasts waved wildly, constantly bombarding each other's bodies. Every punch falls. It's like hitting a copper wall in an iron wall. The whole battlefield was roaring. Click. After all, the Doka Beast's defense was weaker, the rock's skin cracked open, spattering a lot of blood. Phew. The Vajra Ape King gained power and was relentless. Relying on his hardening at the full level, he gave up defense at all, and launched a stormy offensive against the Doka Beast. Spiritual art, Berserk. Yijian Hangguang gritted his teeth fiercely, and pointed at Duo Kashu. Roar. The Doka roared wildly, its eyes were full of tyranny, and its attack power soared again, leaving bloodstains on the steel-like body of the Iron Ape King for the first time. Quote. The Iron Ape King was slightly taken aback, there were only a handful of injuries in its memory. But then a sinister smile appeared on the corner of its mouth, and it showed no sign of weakness. Two behemoths. The battle of this moment. It perfectly interprets what is called a bloody fight. A lot of blood continued to sway the battlefield. Virtual battle platform. The battle between the Vajra Ape King and the Doka Beast has entered a fierce stage. My god, how terrifying is such a battle? If we continue to fight like this, these two imperial beasts will probably be defeated and injured. Watching the battle between the two beasts, the Vajra Ape King, all the audience gasped in amazement. It's really hard to predict if it goes on like this. And it's such a waste of time. A golden light flashed in Su Yun's eyes, and a spirit technique had been activated instantly. Spirituality, gigantic, roar. The Vajra Ape King roared, and his whole body began to swell rapidly. Although Su Yun's shot was reserved, he didn't give full play to the hugeness. However, the size of the Vajra Ape King has also increased by 5 times. The originally huge Doka beast is like a child in front of the Vajra Ape King. Phew, the Dokamon, the condescending overlooker of King Vajra Ape, showed a malicious smile. Although this fight was very cool. But it should also be over. Boom, the air exploded directly. The sandbag-sized fist of the Vajra Ape King had already landed, ruthlessly bombarding the Doka beast and crawling on the ground. Hang on, Dokamon, stand up. Yiji and Hangguang looked anxious, and quickly encouraged the Doka beast. But just as Doka beast was about to struggle to stand up, another punch from the Vajra Ape King came one after another. Boom, the earth trembled. Numerous cracks emerged above the ground. More than half of the huge body of the Doka beast has been embedded into the ground. Boom, the King Kong Ape King's third punch fell, and the Doka beast could only let out a final whine, completely losing its fighting ability. All of a sudden, the figures of Yiji and Hangguang and Doka beast had disappeared. Su Yun also won this game. So, you won just like that. A spectator was dumbfounded, looking at the only Su Yun and the Vajra Ape King left on the ring. He couldn't believe what he saw. What happened just now? I thought it would be a protracted battle. Who would have thought that King Kong's sudden eruption would end the battle directly? I didn't expect this guy named Xiaobai to hide such a spiritual technique. The body of the giant ape has been enlarged by more than 5 times. This kind of spiritual technique is really cool. I'm really looking forward to the scene where they achieve a 100-game winning streak. A look of fanaticism appeared in the eyes of an audience member. Now he has completely become a fan of Su Yun and King Kong Giant Ape. And in the field at this time, Su Yun has already been prompted whether to continue the match. He didn't make a choice right away. Instead, he looked at the Vajra Ape King and said, "Is it okay, can you continue to fight? Here is the battle in the virtual world. Although the injury will not feed back into reality, but it will cause great pressure and impact on the spirit. So it's not without cost." Phew, the Vajra Ape King clenched his fists, showing a look of determination. In that case, let's continue. There was also a smile on Su Yun's face, and he chose to continue the match. This time the match took a long time. As the players' winning streak increases, the matched players will become stronger and stronger. And such a strong man. Compared with the huge base of low-level beast masters, they are undoubtedly only a very small number. Finally, follow the system prompts. Matching has finally been done. A thin and weak young man has appeared in front of Su Yun. Look at this figure. The discussion among all the audience began to become more heated. It's him, Lu Fengpaoshui. He is a terrifying beast master who has won 85 matches in a row. I remember that his imperial beast is a sub-dragon. It's a worthwhile trip to see this battle. Some viewers began to renew their subscriptions quickly, not wanting to miss even a tiny bit of this battle. Lu Fengpaoshui glanced at Su Yun, then sized up the Vajra Ape King, and without saying anything, directly released her imperial beast. A summoning circle appeared in front of him. Roar, accompanied by a mighty dragon chant, a royal beast 1 jong away has slowly walked out of it. Name, Earth Dragon Beast. Level, Command the Eightfold. Talent, Advanced Speed Talent, Advanced Strength Talent. Attribute, Earth, Dragon. Bloodline, High Lord. Skills, Dragon's Breath, Blood Burst, Earth Dragon Claws, Crushed. Roar, the Earth Dragon Beast roared, exuding an astonishing coercion all over its body. Although I don't know what you, the beast in command of the 2nd level, have achieved so many victories in a row, but it should stop here. Lu Fengpaoshui stroked the dragon scales of the Earth Dragon Beast, showing a smile on his face. With a look of confidence, he said, "Although the Imperial Beast will not really die here. But trust me, dying is definitely not a fun experience. I advise you to admit defeat." Between talking, The Earth Dragon beast had already slowly walked towards the King Kong Ape King, and traces of terrifying dragon power continued to spread out, pressing towards the King Kong King Ape King. Phew, the Diamond Ape King smiled disdainfully, and was not affected by anything at all. Instead, he hooked his fingers at the Earth Dragon beast, provoking beyond words. So what if it is Longwei? Compared to Xiaobai's aura, it's just heaven and earth. For it, which is used to fighting Xiaobai, it is really like nothing. I'm sure you've seen it too. My beast master doesn't intend to admit defeat, let's do it. Su Yun said playfully. Lu Fengpaoshui's expression froze, looking at the composed King Kong Ape King. He also vaguely realized its extraordinariness, stopped talking nonsense but directly ordered. Earth Dragon Beast, use the Earth Dragon Claw. Following Lu Fengpaoshui's words, the voice fell. The Earth Dragon Beast has roared and rushed out, showing a speed that is completely incompatible with his huge size. All the audience only felt a flash in front of their eyes. The Earth Dragon Beast is already very close to the Vajra Ape King, and the dragon claws wrapped in earth energy have already slapped down fiercely. The terrifying power made the air burst into wailing, and strong winds raged even more in all directions. So fast, I didn't even react. Seeing that the Earth Dragon Beast's claws were about to fall on King Kong's body, countless spectators subconsciously let out bursts of exclamation. Just when everyone thought that King Kong King Ape would be injured, Su Yun's voice transmission had already issued an order. Vajra Ape King, the strange force exploded, dodge. Boom, the ground under the King Kong Ape King's feet instantly split open, and his entire body jumped up. The Vajra Ape King himself possessed high-level talent for speed, and his dodging speed reached an astonishing level by virtue of the instant burst of strength. Vajra Ape King, Death Rush. Su Yun said lightly. The Vajra Ape King who appeared in another place immediately launched a charge, and the ground where his body passed continued to crack, and he slammed into the direction of the Earth Dragon Beast. Spirituality, tenacity, spiritual art, defense reinforcement. Lu Fengpaoshui was startled. 2 defensive auxiliary spirit spells had been blessed on Earth Dragon Beast. Boom, accompanied by a roar. The Earth Dragon Beast has already let out a howl, and its huge body has rolled away towards the distance, leaving a huge gully about 10 meters long on the ground. Don't give him a chance, Vajra Ape King, take advantage of the victory and pursue. Phew, the Vajra Ape King slapped his chest, his whole body jumped up, and he rode fiercely on the Earth Dragon Beast, his fists came down like raindrops. Boom, 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 the huge muffled sound seemed to be beating a drum, constantly echoing in the field. The Earth Dragon Beast kept whining, and the scales all over its body were constantly cracking and bleeding, making it look extremely miserable. It's so. All the audience were a little dumbfounded. I thought it would be a close battle. Reminiscent of the beginning of the battle. Lu Fengpaoshui had already been seized the opportunity, and just fell into an absolute disadvantage. Spiritual spell, entangling ring. Anxiety flashed across Fengpaoshui's eyes, and a spiritual spell had already emerged. A series of ropes had already been wrapped around the King Kong Ape King's body, making his punching motions involuntarily stagnant. Now, Earth Dragon Beast, throw him away. A look of ferocity flashed in the eyes of the Earth Dragon Beast, and the whole body suddenly exerted force, and the Vajra Ape King was directly thrown into the air. Now, kill him and use Dragon's Breath. The Earth Dragon Beast directly opened its mouth wide, and the terrifying Dragon's Breath has shot out, enveloping the Vajra Ape King in midair. Vajra Ape King, harden and defend with all your strength. Su Yun immediately transmitted the voice. The Golden Ape King exudes metallic light all over his body, and his arms are crossed in front of him. Boom, a violent explosion resounded in midair. A terrifying gust of wind rippled. Is there a winner? Has that giant ape been dealt with so easily? Impossible. The defense of that giant ape is absolutely terrifying. It is impossible to be killed like this. All the spectators stared intently. There are those who are nervous. There are those who look forward to it. This is the charm of fighting beasts. It will make people unconsciously be affected. Boom. The Vajra Ape King slammed. The ground on which his feet were trampled was constantly vibrating. His whole body was completely unharmed, and he let out a roar that shook the sky. Ha, I knew it. Come on, kill that Earth Dragon Beast. Seeing the King Kong King like this, some audience members also shouted crazily. If it is in the real world at this time, I'm afraid the cheers have already shaken the sky. Terrifying power, extremely strong defense, it is really a terrifying royal beast. Lu Fengpao took a deep look at the Vajra Ape King, and said, "No wonder you can come this far. If it is at the same level as my Earth Dragon Beast, I will definitely not be your opponent. But now, it's your failure. Earth Dragon Beast, use the bloodline to explode." Obtaining the Master's order, the Earth Dragon Beast let out a terrifying roar. The dragon's power all over its body began to become stronger rapidly, and the aura all over its body also rose steadily. All of a sudden, the Earth Dragon Beast actually gave people the illusion of turning into a pure-blooded dragon. Next moment, the ground under the feet of the Earth Dragon Beast has been completely shattered, and its huge body has exploded, carrying unrivaled power and rushing towards King Kong. King Kong. Su Yun's expression froze, and he felt a huge threat. The spiritual power surged in his hand, and he pointed out with a finger. Spiritual art, to become gigantic. Boom! The body of the Vajra Ape King suddenly expanded 10 times, and the aura of his whole body became extremely violent. Even every muscle line is clearly visible, as if possessing a frightening and terrifying power. Blessed by Su Yun's unreserved spiritual skills, King Konguyuan stood on the ground as if he had turned into a fierce god. Boom! The Vajra Ape King took a step forward, and the huge fist had been bombarded out. The terrifying force had distorted the air visible to the naked eye. Next moment, King Kong's fist had already collided with the Earth Dragon claws of the Earth Dragon Beast. Boom! With a huge roar, only 2 beasts are seen as the center. The entire ground began to show cracks visible to the naked eye. Click! Under everyone's gaze, the dragon claws of the Earth Dragon Beast had already twisted irregularly, and the whole body flew upside down and landed on the ground with a bang. Get rid of it, Vajra Ape King. The Vajra Ape King ran fast, and the entire battlefield was shaken. Earth Dragon Beast, stop him with your full dragon's breath. Lu Fengpao hurriedly shouted with a flash of anxiety in his eyes. Hearing the Master's order, the Earth Dragon Beast endured the pain, and the terrifying dragon's breath has already surged out. But in the face of all this, the Vajra Ape King just put his arms across his body and made a simple defensive action. With an absolutely powerful defense, he forcibly tore through the blockade of the dragon's breath and came in front of the Earth Dragon Beast. Phew! The Vajra Ape King looked down at the Earth Dragon Beast condescendingly, with a smile on the corner of his mouth, and in the fearful eyes of the other party, he punched down hard. Boom! The earth exploded instantly. The entire battlefield was constantly shaking. Under this punch, Earth Dragon Beast has been completely defeated. The entire site showed a huge depression. Su Yun, win another battle. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.